It's okay to like things that are problematic, guys. As long as like you can also critique them. That's my position. Okay, here we go. This is not the explosive start I was imagining. Here we go. Okay.
Good afternoon,
The boys are back in town.
and thank you very much for coming. This is representative of our legal team. We're representing President Trump, and we're representing the Trump campaign. Uh, when I finish, Sidney Powell and then Jenna Ellis will follow me, and we will present in brief the evidence that we've collected over the last, I guess it is 2 weeks. Also, Joseph Genever, Victoria Tenzing are here with me.
Wait, is she wearing a noose? What the fuck is this? Is it like a guys? What? No, no, like real talk. What is this? Like I know it's a necklace, but what? What's going on here? um, as this is going on, remember he's getting paid $20,000 a day. Yeah. Yeah, like, but like, no joke. Like, what, what is this? Is it like a, is it supposed to be like a tiger claw to like go with the leopard print? What, what is it? She's a cougar with BDSM accessories. I guess so. I guess so. Anyway, I got really sidetracked by this.
There are a lot more lawyers working on this, but
Is it loud enough,
I
by the
guess
way?
we're the senior lawyers, and Boris Epstein. So I guess the best way to describe this is when we began our representation of the president, we certainly were confronted with a very anomalous set of results. The president way ahead on election night, 700,000 or 800,000 in Pennsylvania. Somehow he lost Pennsylvania. We have statisticians willing to testify that that's almost
Is it loud enough,
statistically
guys?
impossible to have happened in the period of time that it happened. But of course, that's just speculation. As we started investigating, both our investigations and the very patriotic and brave American citizens that have come forward are extraordinary number of people, extraordinary number of witnesses. And what emerged very quickly is there's not a singular voter fraud in one state. This pattern repeats itself in a number of states, almost exactly the same pattern, which to any experienced investigator, prosecutor, would suggest that there was a plan from a centralized place to execute these various acts of voter fraud, specifically focused on big cities.
Okay, so again, I'm going to be pausing this just so that we can clearly emphasize all of the insane shit that Rudy Giuliani is alleging in this interview or press conference. So, one, that there is a coordinated conspiracy on the left to flip large cities blue. And apparently, this conspiracy must have been going back decades now, because large cities almost always flip left because more people live in cities, and people who live in cities tend to vote Democratic. Anyway, but apparently this is not due to any actual difference of voting. It is due to a long-standing conspiracy by the left, by a secret leftist cabal. So let's open minds, open hearts, everybody. Let's go in and see what they got.
And specifically focused on, as you would imagine, big cities controlled by Democrats, and particularly focused on big cities that have a long history of corruption. The number of voter fraud cases in Philadelphia could fill a library just a few weeks ago.
Citation needed. Guys, the number of Republican voter fraud cases could fill a library in Texas. See, I can say it too. Doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it true.
There was a conviction for voter fraud, and 2 weeks before that, and
Also, the last case of convicted voter fraud was a Republican who voted twice.
Often said, I guess sarcastically, but it's true, the only surprise I would have found in this is if Philadelphia hadn't cheated in this election, because for the last 60 years, they've cheated in just about every single election. You could say this.
Citation needed. I feel like Rudy Giuliani. If this was true, it would be an absolute gangbuster of a reveal. And I think you need to have proof in order to actually factually claim that Philadelphia has been cheating for 60 fucking years. Whoa, what is this? Wait, who are these people? Alright. Hi, everybody. I guess it didn't say that there's a raid? But, whatever. Y'all mad. Y'all mad. Gosh. Y'all butthurt. Absolute lunacy. These people are absolute cretins, you know? Like it's you know, I feel like when you need to stoop to the point of like having bots come in to try and make your point for you, your point's probably pretty shit, right? That was a wild amount of things. Thank you very much, mods, for all of your brave service. I appreciate it. People just can't handle strong women online telling them the truth. It's true. It's true. Y'all need to be less snowflakey. Y'all need to grow some thicker skin. Gosh, you conservatives out there. Y'all are so vulnerable out there when your main man Rudy's just coming out here without any evidence. I thought you were all facts, don't care about your feelings. Wow. Looks like you guys have a lot more feelings than facts these days. Anyway, let's continue.
Same thing about Detroit. Each one of these cities are cities that are controlled by Democrats, which means they can get away with anything they want to do. It means they...
Why does that... No, that doesn't actually follow, Rudy. You also have cities in this country that are controlled by Republicans. Does that mean Republicans can get away with anything they want to do? Does that mean Republican cities? Does that mean Republican cities are also guilty of voter fraud? I don't think so. Also, I think you can turn off slow mode now. But thank you very much, mods. I appreciate it.
have a certain degree of control over, certainly control the election board completely, and they control law enforcement. And unfortunately, they have some friendly judges that will issue ridiculously irrational opinions just to come out in their favor. So,
citation needed. I like how over the past year we've completely politicized the courts in this country. So people are just like, yeah, I mean they're Democrat judges. Obviously they're gonna be partisan. Okay, I guess this is the game we're gonna play now, for the rest of time in this country. Not in Michigan. Yeah, not in Michigan. But also remember one key thing, guys. It is not illegal to have a press conference where you lie. You can have a press conference and say whatever the fuck you want in this country. You know what you can't do? You can't have a courtroom where you can say wherever you want. You actually have to what's the phrase? Provide evidence in a courtroom. You actually have to do that, you know? So, like, it's not that easy to just, like, make claims in a courtroom. Because if you lie, if you get caught making claims without evidence in a courtroom, that's illegal. You're going to jail. Um, so, you'll notice that anytime Rudy Giuliani is at a press conference, he's going to be saying some shit like, we have libraries full of voter fraud. We have all this evidence of voter fraud. And then he gets into a courtroom. Yeah, actually, this postal department, when we had evidence that maybe possibly there was some voter fraud happening, there were only two votes that would have been affected by this alleged fraud. So, could you overturn the entire state's election, please? 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 I'll yeah for you. Yeah. Like that's where they're at with this. This is the stage that Republicans are at. Um and I noticed that we're getting like swarmed by some sort of bot attack on here. I'm very sorry, mods. You're busy today. But the other thing is, like, can I change the chat to follower only for a sec? Sure, if you'd like. Whatever you got to do to handle this problem, because clearly it's something weird is happening. But notice that I had a call-in stream. Like, specifically, the title of this stream is that call-ins are welcome. But, like, conservatives have to attack me with bots to, insult me or, put forward their ideas. They can't actually come on and defend them themselves. So, yeah. It's true, Rudy Giuliani heard me, and apparently has sent his goons. His goons are here. It's true, the Republicans are running scared because of my facts and logic. Also, guys, if there's a conservative in chat or watching or whatever right now, I really don't give a shit if you, like, flood my chat with people saying mean things about me. Like, the amount I care is, like, infinitesimally small. Like, okay, yeah. No matter what you say to me, can't possibly be worse than anything that I've said to myself in my head for years. For years. So yeah, I'm not bothered by you people. You people are kind of like pathetic, because you can't, like, actually defend your ideas. You have to hide behind bots. You have to hide behind insults. You can't actually defend your ideas in, like, actual discourse. So, it's okay. You're wrong. You're wrong, and like children, when you're wrong, you lash out. I get it. But hopefully you learn something, Hopefully you learn something. Yeah, you're giving my mods some excuse to exert their powers. So you're gonna make my mods power mad. That's the worst effect you're gonna have. David Filippo, thank you very much for the follow. Though I thought you followed the other day, but I hope you're having a fantastic evening. Anyway, let's continue.
So let's start with the specifics. Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, the margin of victory now for Biden, which is not a victory, it's a fraud, is 69,140 votes.
Nice.
The reality is that we are now at a count of 682,770 ballots, for which we have affidavits that there was no inspection of that ballot at the time that it was entered.
Hey guys, you want to know something that I learned recently on a stream? Affidavits don't mean shit. I can make an affidavit about how I wiped my ass. I can make an affidavit about literally anything. Having an affidavit doesn't mean shit until it goes to court. So, yeah. them having affidavits about these things don't matter at all until it goes to court. Let's talk about the affidavits like when we actually like get around to these cases going to court, because I'm pretty sure right now the record of the Trump campaign in court on this election fraud issue is about 29 losses to 1 victory. They've had 1 victory in court on all of these claims. The rest of this has all gone in favor of the Biden campaign because the Trump campaign doesn't actually have any fucking evidence when it comes to court. They have Rudy Giuliani coming out here to do a dog and pony show. And that has no... What he says on this podium, which is outside of a courtroom, has no bearing on what his actual testimony in court is. Can't you get some perjury if you make an affidavit, though? No. No, you can literally you can lie in an affidavit. It's totally fine to lie in an affidavit. What's not fine is to lie in a courtroom. So typically what will happen is that people will use affidavits as a reason to call people to the stand in court, because on the affidavit you are making a claim, and so and supposedly can back it up. So when you are called into court on the basis of that affidavit, you can say, yes, Your Honor, I wiped my ass, and I wiped it very well. Or you can say, actually, Your Honor, I only used a bidet, so I didn't actually wipe my ass. But you know, I have hemorrhoids, so like I'm trying really hard to be gentle with my anal tissues, and yeah. So affidavits only actually matter when you're in a courtroom. Everything else, yeah, it's a free-for-all when it comes to affidavits. So yeah. Anyway,
in the vote, it was a mail ballot. Mail ballots are particularly prone to fraud. We were warned about that
citation needed
by Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, and Secretary Baker, in a report about a dozen years ago, in which they said that.
Fun fact, the Trump administration actually had a task force assigned to investigate voter fraud, and it's weird that he's mentioning Jimmy Carter, because you'd think that the Trump administration, with people who may have made claims about voter fraud being prevalent in the United States for the past decade, you would think that they would find significant evidence of this mail-in voter fraud being a problem in past elections. Except they found so little that they just disbanded the task force without releasing an official report to the public. And when the information of that task force was obtained via Freedom of Information Act, they suspiciously didn't have any evidence of voter fraud in the report that they put together and subsequently buried. So, yeah, pretty weird that Trump's task force on voter fraud totally missed this glaring error where apparently Philadelphia has been fraudulently voting for the past 60 years. Pretty weird. That seems like something you'd be able to prove in court, Rudy Giuliani.
Mail balloting is particularly susceptible of fraud, that we should very carefully consider ever doing it, and that it can be taken advantage of. Justice Souter warned us.
We've done voter fraud in every election since, like, the Civil fucking War, Rudy Giuliani. What the fuck are you talking about?
The same thing in a comment in an election law case. And even the New York Times wrote articles about how dangerous mail-in voting was. And this is the first time we ever did it en masse. And I think we proved that all three are prophets. It's not only susceptible to fraud, it is easily susceptible to fraud, particularly if you have a plan or scheme, which sounds eerily similar to what Joe Biden told us a few days before the election, that he had the best voter fraud team in the world. Well,
what the fuck? Is he claiming that Joe Biden just said, I have the best voter fraud team in the world? And he's saying that should be interpreted by, yeah, he technically said that, but is Rudy Giuliani saying that we should interpret that as him having an elite squad of tech ops fraud soldiers to go and rig the election? This is like the equivalent of saying, like, Nixon having a press conference and saying like, "Yes, I have the best breaking and entering team in the entire United States." Right before Watergate. No, Joe Biden didn't do that. He means anti-fraud. Obviously, you big piece of shit.
Were good. I don't know that they were that good because they made significant mistakes, like all crooks do, and we caught them. One of them was pushing out
If you caught them, you should be able to prove that in court, right?
Republican inspectors. Every state, almost every civilized country, even Tanzania and places that you wouldn't think of, have rules about inspectors, particularly for mail-in ballots. And
So
why
do
is it particularly
we.
for mail-in ballots? Because
We have rules about these. They're inspected. All of these things are inspected, guys. Guys, Donald Trump fired the head of our election security team because the head of the team certified the election was the least fraudulent and least interfered with election in U.S. history. And that guy got fired by the president, who's trying to claim that there has been rampant voter fraud. Yeah, Chris Krebs. Thank you.
they can more easily be defrauded, and you can't check on it. People who have never done a mail-in ballot, I'm going to show you why it's so easy. Well, you fill out an envelope like this.
Yep.
You put usually in New York it would be your assembly district and the precinct in which you're voting. You fill out your name and your address, and you sign it. You then use an inner envelope, and you put the ballot inside the inner envelope. You seal it all, and you send it in. When it's being counted, almost invariably in the United States, up until the mass cheating that went on in this election, a Republican and a Democrat inspector.
Who are their political advisors? Do they have any? Do they even have any? He's the lawyer to the president. Like he is like a political advisor. He's operating on the president's orders. Like his explanation here, by the way, is that the ballot envelope has your name and address on it. So once you throw that away, there's no way to certify the ballot except the ballot has your fucking name and address on it. They check this against their records. Your ballot has your info on it. It's not just like a piece of paper with dots filled in for like a voting machine. What the fuck? Like this argument is like, oh yeah, if you get rid of the envelope, there's no way to double check it. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Oh gosh. Thought I did follow, maybe I didn't. Twitch hates me. Aw. Gentle with anal tissue. I like the sound of that. Sorry, it was a bit detailed. Also, hello Maya. Everyone go follow Tumblr Dryer Maya. And Soko TV, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's keep going here.
As well as others, if there are other parties, is allowed to watch the unsealing of this ballot. Used to go on all over America when we conducted honest elections. Because the only time you can ever find out if it's a fraudulent ballot is when it is looked at. The minute you approve this, it's thrown away, gone for eternity. The only thing left is the vote.
Yeah, the vote has all your info on it. You don't need the envelope. But also there are bipartisan inspectors in these locations.
Could have been Mickey Mouse. That could have been a dead person. That could have been not filled out properly. That could have been the same person 30 times.
Oh, he's already sweating.
And all these things have happened, by the way. That could have been nothing filled out. We never know. So, for example, the recount being done in Georgia will tell us nothing because these fraudulent ballots will just be counted again because they wouldn't supply the signatures to match the ballots.
You don't need a signature match for ballots, though, because they just check it against your record to make sure that you haven't voted twice.
It means nothing to have counted these ballots because, for example, in Pennsylvania, where we have probably our most precise evidence, 682,770 of these ballots were cast, put in, and they weren't inspected, which renders them ballots that are null and void, cannot be counted, have to be removed from the vote.
So I have a genuine question, like for any Republicans out there. Do you guys think that like they just throw all the ballots into a machine and don't check them against their system. Because like we have systems in place to catch people who vote more than one time. We have systems in place to catch people who try and cast multiple votes. We have systems in place to make sure dead people aren't voting. Yeah, we have all of these systems. So like I'm not I guess Republicans and conservatives are under the impression that like these votes are just counted without being checked against anything. This is a very bizarre idea to me. Um, it's true. Trump needs to save his energy for 2024. His body's like a battery. The more energy he uses, the less he has. Um, all right.
Why? For several reasons, not the least of which is that was basically only one of two places in the state where it was done. So in the other parts of the state, there was a legitimate inspection of the ballots. So if you have two different standards in different parts of the state, one favoring one part of the state, the other disfavoring the other part of the state, that's a classic violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. Bush v. Gore being the most recent case that teaches that. That's not the only fraud that went on in Pennsylvania. All of the other frauds carried out in the other states by the Democrat bosses happened there as well. For example,
except there were bipartisan checkers, William of Orange. That there were bipartisan checkers at these polling stations. So, yeah. Otherwise, you're alleging that there is like some weird conspiracy where the Republican inspectors were secretly replaced by Democratic inspectors, and so those Democratic inspectors were just like showing up with like trucks full of votes. Like, clearly it would have to be a lot of votes. Like, here, get rid of the Republican ballots. We need to put in the Chinese ballots. They just arrived by the shipping truck. You know, gotta go get those. Like, no, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
If you made a mistake in that ballot and you lived in Philadelphia or in Pittsburgh,
and again, if they have evidence, if the evidence is as clear as Rudy Giuliani's making it out to be, then they should have no problem proving it in court, right? Except so far, they've lost 29 out of 30 cases. So, doesn't seem to bode well for them having strong evidence for their position.
You were allowed to fix the mistake.
Also,
but
this
if you lived
video
in
quality is
what
awful.
would be considered more Republican or Trump parts of the state, you were given no such right. One of our plaintiffs, Mr. Henry, cast a absentee ballot, and he failed to put it in the secure envelope inside. He just put it in open, naked. That ballot was cast aside because it was invalid, because that breaks the privacy of the vote. In Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia, if they noticed that there wasn't an inner envelope, they'd contact the voter and allow him to vote again. Or if he didn't fill it out completely, or if he made a mistake and didn't sign his full name, he was allowed to cure it. There is no such provision under the law of Pennsylvania. The Democrat Secretary of State made that up in order to maximize the votes in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and to minimize the votes in the other parts of the state. Clearly illegal, clearly voter fraud, easily provable, hundreds of witnesses, maybe thousands. We have
then it should be really easy for them to prove in court.
17,000 provisional ballots cast in Pittsburgh. Do you know
like everything he's saying right now, even if it were true, right? Then it should be really, really easy to prove in court. If you really have these thousands of witnesses, it should be super easy to prove in court.
Provisional ballot is? Provisional ballot usually happens this way, and about 15 of the 17,000 happen this way.
Wait, do you have AdBlock or AdBlock Plus or something on YouTube? If you do, it now makes the YouTube videos 480p. Oh, really? Let me, I guess I can try turning it off.
Hundreds of witnesses, maybe thousands. We have, to give you another example, we have 17,000 provisional ballots cast in Pittsburgh. Do you know what a provisional ballot is?
Oh gosh, I clicked
Provisional ballot usually happens this way, and about 15 of the 17,000 happen this way. You walk in and you say, I'm here to vote today.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Mr. Giuliani, you already voted.
I'm going to do something really quick.
Hundreds of witnesses, maybe thousands.
No, the video quality is just shit. Oh well. You guys can live with it. It's fine. It's probably doing Rudy Giuliani a favor, to be honest with you.
I did. I don't
Howdy,
remember.
howdy, howdy, play
Oh
it
yes, yes,
forward
yes, yes. I asked the
gaming.
chief.
How's it
No, I
going?
did. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. So why does that happen 17,000 times in Pittsburgh? People walked in thinking they actually 15,000 to be precise. Why did it happen 15,000 times that people in Pittsburgh walked in to vote and they had
Oh, I'm
already
sorry you're
voted
tired.
according to the Democrat election machine? Did they forget that many people with bad memories in Pittsburgh? Or is the following correct? That as witnesses will testify, they were instructed by the Democrat bosses when they had a ballot in which there was no one registered, just assign it to somebody. Just assign it to Rudy Giuliani. So when maybe Rudy Giuliani won't show up to vote. And if he does show up to vote, we'll give him a provisional ballot. That is what we call circumstantial evidence of the fraud, the direct evidence of the fraud of the people who will testify that, in fact, that's what happened to them, as well as the 50 to 60 memories we have for the way they were treated and not allowed to inspect the ballots. They weren't just not allowed to do it. They were pushed. In a few cases, they were assaulted. In all cases, they were put in a corral so far away. Probably the closest they got is from here to the back of that room. We could do like a, did you all watch My Cousin Vinny? You know the movie? It's one of my favorite war movies because he comes from Brooklyn. And when the nice lady who said she saw, and then he says to her, how many fingers do I got up? And she says, 3. Well, she was too far away to see it was only 2. These people were further away than my cousin Vinny was from the witness. They couldn't see a thing.
Yeah, because there's a deadly pandemic, Rudy.
Now, I don't know. You're going to tell me that 60 people are lying? They didn't just tell me this. They swore under penalty of perjury, which is something no Democrat's ever done. You don't even ask Biden about this. You don't put him under penalty of perjury. He doesn't even get asked questions about it. He doesn't get asked questions about all the...
Wait, why would Biden get asked questions about it in court, though? Biden doesn't have anything to do with the election. He's just a candidate. Why would you put him on the stage? Trump hasn't taken the stand. Why would Joe Biden have to?
Of the crimes that he committed. These people are under penalty of perjury. Their names are on an affidavit. They swear that they weren't allowed to carry out their function as inspectors. And it's not just a technical thing. There's a reason they did it. Why would you not allow people to carry out the function they've been allowed to do for 50 years, 60 years? Why wouldn't you allow inspections of those ballots? Because you knew you were going to use those ballots to catch Biden up. And you had a big road ahead of you. You had to catch him up for 700,000 to 800,000 votes that he was behind. And the only way you were going to do it was with the mail-in ballots. You couldn't have a Democrat and Republican inspector around. They don't even have Democrats watching because they'd be afraid that there'd be honest Democrats who would say, you're cheating.
No, it's because of the deadly pandemic, Rudy. Also, Jack P44, hello. Welcome to the chat. I hope you enjoy your time here. I haven't seen you around here before. And even if you're a conservative, I want to make your life better too, okay? I'm a socialist. Hello. And I hope you're having a fantastic day.
So that takes us to Michigan, where there was an honest Democrat who said they were cheating. And we'll show you her affidavit, because I know you keep reporting falsely that we have no evidence, that we have no specific acts of fraud. That's because the coverage of...
An affidavit is not evidence. An affidavit can be... You can lie in an affidavit, guys. Guys, you can lie in affidavits. I don't know if this is news to you guys, but you can lie in an affidavit, and there's no consequence. You can say whatever the fuck you want in an affidavit. You can claim you went to the fucking moon. But what does matter is when you get in court and have to back up that affidavit. Because if you're testifying and you don't have the evidence to back yourself up, if you are, in fact, lying under oath in a courtroom to a judge, that gets you in a lot of legal trouble. Yeah, it's perjury. No. You can say whatever the fuck you want in an affidavit. But when that affidavit goes to court, when you are pulled into the courtroom, that's when it becomes perjury.
This has been almost as dishonest as the scheme itself. The American people are entitled to know this. You don't have a right to keep it from them. You don't have a right to lie about it. And you are. I mean, you don't report to them that a citizen of this country, a very fine woman, who is willing to allow me to give you her name. I can't give you all these affidavits because if I do, these people will be harassed, they'll be threatened, they may lose their job, they will lose their friends. We've lost lawyers in this case because they've been threatened. We've had lawyers that need protection. What's going on in this country is horrible, and the censorship that you're imposing is making it worse. But Jesse Jacob is an...
It's not what censorship means. Also, hello, happy International Men's Day. True! We're going to talk about men later. It's going to be great. Men are awesome. Did you know that? All kinds of men. There are all kinds of men in this world that are rad as hell. And we're going to talk about it, okay? Thank you for reminding me, boss. Wait, sounds like a threat? No, I sincerely want you to be happy and have your rights protected. I want your freedom to be maximized. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. Okay, we can talk about that later. I want to finish this first, but afterwards we can talk about it, right? I think an official day is the most cringe thing ever. Well, you know what? I think it's a great thing, right? I think it's great to have a platform to talk about issues that affect men, you know? Like, hey, maybe the fact that we, like, turn male rape into a joke, maybe that's not a good thing, you know? Maybe we should not turn rape of men into a joke. Or, you know, maybe we should address some of these other issues that affect men, like how men frequently are denied the right to express emotions in public, you know, have to bottle up a lot of these emotions inside, and it turns into harmful. Like, that actively harms you when you bottle up emotions. Like, it's not a good thing. But anyway, I think it's good to have a day where we can talk about these things. It's up to him to solve that issue? Nah. We as a society have a lot of issues with men. This is why we need to talk about them. I think this whole idea that, like, men are lone wolves that need to solve all their problems is precisely one of the things that makes so many problems for so many different men. Anyway, we'll talk about it, okay? But first, Rudy Giuliani melting.
Adult citizen and a resident of the state of Michigan. She's been an employee of the city of Detroit for decades. I know her age, but she can tell you her age. She was assigned to voting duties in September, and she was trained by the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. She was basically trained to cheat. She said that I was instructed by my supervisor to adjust the mailing date of these absentee ballot packages to be dated earlier than when they were actually sent in. The supervisor made that announcement for all workers to engage in that fraudulent practice.
Oh, great. Then it should be really easy for her to prove.
That's this American citizen saying that under oath. I don't know. Maybe you could say she's lying, but you can't say there's no evidence. This is what we call evidence. This is direct evidence.
No,
circumstantial.
It's not evidence until she puts it in court and then they try and prove it.
Testifying to their own knowledge. This witness goes on the witness stand and she will say, I was told to adjust the date on the absentee ballots. I witnessed election workers and employees going over to the voting booths with voters in order to watch them vote and coach them for whom to vote. Completely illegal. She will testify to that. I don't know. Biden's people can cross-examine her, but you can't just throw it. Gee, there's no evidence. Next time you say that, you'll be lying. Because there is evidence. This, oh, by the way, this is public. You can all get it. It's attached to the complaint in Costantino versus the city of Detroit. Then she was instructed by my
Final
supervisor
Fantasy
not
9.
to ask for a driver's license or any photo ID when a person was trying to vote. Don't ask for identification. Why would you not ask for identification? Because you knew that a lot of people not entitled to vote were going to come in and early vote.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up, even though I am 90% sure it's bullshit. We're gonna look it up, okay? Okay. Okay. All right.
because you knew that illegal immigrants were going to be allowed to vote. You knew if you lived in Philadelphia.
Again, an illegal immigrant can come in and vote, but that vote gets cross-checked against their registration in the U.S. database. If there's no registration in there, then illegal, undocumented immigrants can't vote. What the fuck is this, Rudy Giuliani?
Unless you're stunad, that's an Italian expression.
Like
Stupid.
you have to be a registered voter in order to vote, right? You need to register to vote. So if you're not in the system and a vote comes in, it's not counted. It gets discounted. This isn't a complicated issue. And Jack P44, it depends on where you're voting. There are different voter ID laws in different states. Each state has different requirements for identification. I don't believe my state needs an ID when you're voting, but other states do.
Unless you're stupid, you knew that a lot of people were coming over from Camden to vote. They do every year. Happens all the time in Philly. It's about as frequent as getting beaten up at a Philadelphia Eagle football game. Happens all the time. All the time. And it's allowed to happen because it is a Democrat, corrupt city. And has been for years. Many, many years. And they carried it out in places they could get away with it.
Man,
they didn't carry it out in
Rudy,
neutral places.
Rudy, it should be pretty easy to prove if there were millions of undocumented immigrants coming in to vote in Philly. That should be pretty easy to prove, shouldn't it? Especially when you have a registration database of voters to check the votes against. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jack P44. I support all Jacks, you know?
Republican places. They didn't carry it out where the law is respected. They carried it out in a corrupt city where the district attorney releases criminals en masse, which is why it has so much crime. She also said,
citation fucking needed.
I observed a large number of people who came to the satellite location to vote in person, but they had already applied for and submitted an absentee ballot. So she observed a lot of people voting twice.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because the votes get tallied. They count the votes. They count the votes, then they throw out the ones that get voted twice. That's how it works. You can mail in an absentee ballot and still go in and vote to make sure your vote gets counted. These are things that happen. If you vote twice on purpose, like if you vote twice in person, yeah, that's illegal. If you vote via absentee ballot and then go in and vote again, I don't believe that that's an illegal act. Because I think they just throw out the absentee ballot when it comes in.
Again, this is Jesse Jacob, not me. I was instructed not to invalidate any ballots and not to look for any deficiency in the ballots. Why would you do that? Because you're cheating. On purpose cheating. Intentionally cheating. You're cheating as an institution. This is an instruction from the election commissioner.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? You could jump to the conclusion that Rudy Giuliani has jumped to here. Except that, again, it's jumping to a conclusion. So in court, they would need to prove that these superiors expressly meant that she should cheat in this election. Which might not actually be the case. Which might be why the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, has lost so many cases in court. Because they are unable to prove any of these claims.
Or the employer to the worker. Don't look for any deficiencies in the ballots. I was instructed not to look at any of the signatures on the absentee ballots. If she was instructed not to look for any of the signatures on the absentee ballots, why the heck do you sign it in the first place? In order to identify it. She was instructed not to do that because many of the absentee ballots were fraudulent, and they knew that. And they didn't want to have a count of that. On November 4, 2020, I was instructed to improperly predate the absentee ballots when the receipt date was actually was after November 3rd, 2020. Now, this is really significant.
Right,
because
Bob Jips.
Justice Alito of the Supreme Court instructed Pennsylvania that any ballot that comes in after 8 o'clock on November 3rd, 2020, had to be put aside and not opened because there's a question as to its legality and its constitutionality. What she's telling you is that they blatantly disregarded that order, that they took ballots that were marked the 4th and the 5th and the 6th, and they marked it down for the 3rd in blatant disregard of the order of the United States Supreme Court.
Again, citation fucking needed.
This is I don't know if she's a Democrat or Republican. I assume if she's working for the city of Detroit that she's a Democrat. I assume, but I may be wrong. She's a citizen.
How hot is this room?
I've never met her.
No one else
Never coached
seems
her.
to be dying right now.
And I'd like you to note that it's signed under penalties of perjury. We have 100 more of these. I can't show them to you because those people don't want to be harassed. They don't want to have their lives torn apart by the goons on the other side. We don't do that to them. They've done that to a lot of our people. They've done it for 4 years. And it's outrageous.
Thank you,
that it's
David
tolerated, and it's tolerated
Filippo.
because you condone
Thank you very much.
it in the press. You don't cover it. You don't condemn it.
I don't
And it shouldn't
usually
happen to
wear
a Republican
necklaces,
or a Democrat.
so
A lawyer
I
shouldn't
just
have to
felt
withdraw
like
from the
this was
case
so low
because
cut. I
he's
had to
representing
have
the
something.
President of the United States.
You know?
There are many more affidavits here. I'd like to read them all to you, but I don't have the time. You should have had the time and energy to go look for them. That's your job. Like it's my job to defend the president and to represent the president. It's your job to read these things and not falsely report that there's no evidence. Do you know how many affidavits we have in the Michigan case? 220 affidavits. They're not all public, but 8 of them are. 4 affiants here, those are people who give affidavits, report an incident that under any other circumstances would have been on the front page of all your newspapers if it didn't involve the hatred.
You have 8 people. Okay, guys. Here's what Rudy Giuliani has for evidence. He has 8 people who have specific claims that have not been proven in court. That's what Rudy Giuliani has for evidence. That's not evidence. It's not evidence. It's not enough evidence to plaster this over the front page of every major newspaper in America. 8 people saying something about in individual states, in different states, about different election issues, that's not evidence. Those are claims. They need to have evidence to back up the claims. I mean, William of Orange, it's about as much evidence as they had in that Project Veritas video of the guy saying, hey, I heard them making changes to ballots to commit voter fraud. And then when we heard the actual context of what he heard, the actual context was that he heard a couple sentence fragments, and he put together in his head, he made the assumption that it was intended to be widespread ballot fraud, voter fraud, which is hearsay. Again, I don't think that this would count as evidence. It doesn't count as evidence until it's in the middle of a courtroom, and they have to back it up. That's my stance. I guess. Like, I mean, you can say that it's evidence. It's fine. You can say that, but like, what these are claims. Like, I heard X, I heard Y, I witnessed this, etc., etc. This might be evidence under specific circumstances, but what you need for evidence is like factual information that indicates the validity of a claim. So they need to have factual information that backs up these statements. Otherwise, they're just statements that are meaningless on their own. That's the point. William of Orange, I don't think you know what evidence is. I don't think you know what evidence is.
That you have, irrational pathological hatred that you have for the president. What they swear to is that at 4:30 in the morning, a truck pulled up to the Detroit center where they were counting ballots. The people thought it was food, so they all ran to the truck. It wasn't food. It was thousands and thousands of ballots. And the ballots were in garbage cans, they were in paper bags, they were in cardboard boxes, and they were taken into the center. They were put on a number of tables. At that time, they thought all the Republican inspectors had left, all but 2 had, and an employee of Dominion, who we will address a little bit later, Dominion. And here's what they jointly swear to. That every ballot that they could see, everything they could hear, these were ballots for Biden. When they saw a ballot, these were ballots only for Biden, meaning there was no down ticket, just Biden. Many of them didn't have anything on the outer envelope because these ballots were produced very quickly, very swiftly, and they're estimated to be a minimum of 60,000, maximum of 100.
Here, let's back this up slightly.
All but two had, and an employee of Dominion, who we will address a little bit later, Dominion. And here's what they jointly swear to, that every ballot that they could see, everything they could hear, these were ballots for Biden.
Okay. So these two people claim that every single ballot that they saw was for Biden with no down ticket votes. Okay. Interesting.
When they saw a ballot, these were ballots only for Biden, meaning there was no down ticket, just Biden.
Okay. This isn't that weird. Most people in this country don't actually vote down ballot. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that? Most people in the United States don't vote for their down ballot elections.
Many of them didn't have anything on the outer envelope because these ballots were produced very quickly, very swiftly, and they're estimated to be.
They were produced very quickly and very swiftly. That's where you need to prove it, Rudy Giuliani. That's where you need to prove this, because you're making the mental leap. Either you or the two individuals involved are making the mental leap that these ballots were produced via fraud. And you need to be able to prove it in court.
A minimum of 60,000, maximum of 100,000. Many of them were.
So you're trying to claim, like, Rudy Giuliani here is trying to claim that two employees saw 60,000 ballots and were able to discern that all of them were the same.
Triple counted, which means they were put into the counting machine this way. Once, twice, three times. I didn't see that. I don't know that, but for the fact that 3 American citizens are willing to swear to it. And we're not going to let them go to court and do that? We're going to let this election go by?
No, by all means, let them go to court and swear it.
In this case, 60 witnesses that can prove what I'm saying to you and other acts.
By all means, let these people go to court and swear to this and be able to back up their claims. I, unlike my conservative colleagues, am very interested in the truth of this matter. By all means, let these people go to court and swear to it. Because again, Donald Trump's campaign has lost 29 out of 30 court cases on this matter, which indicates to me that they don't actually have good evidence to back up these claims. So, anyway.
Acts of fraud in Michigan? I mean, what's happened to this country if we're going to let that happen? What happened to this country if we're going to cover that up? We let Al Gore carry on an election dispute longer than this one has been going on for one state and for Chads. This happened in Pennsylvania. It happened in Michigan. Michigan probably right now, if I count up the affidavits, just one case alone, Trump v. Benson, a case that we dismissed today because that case was attempting to get the Wayne County Board of Supervisors to decertify. Well, they did. They decertified. That case has 100 affidavits. And the 100 affidavits show essentially what I've talked to you about. Counting ballots improperly, counting them 3 and 4 times, having people vote 3 and 4 times, changing and backdating ballots to the point of at least 300,000 illegitimate ballots that we can specifically identify. The margin in Michigan was 146,121, and these ballots were all cast basically in Detroit that Biden won 80-20.
SoCo TV, thank you very much for the follow, and Big Greg 74035, thank you very much for the follow as well.
Constantino versus the city of Detroit, not by us, but by an individual plaintiff. We are helping and assisting in that case, however. And you can find all the affidavits that you want filed in that case.
Are you missing something, David Filippo? I don't think so. Basically, everything that's coming out of his mouth is bullshit, because as soon as he gets into court, he's going to claim that this isn't a voter fraud case. Which, by the way, he did. He did that. He claimed that the Trump campaign was not asserting voter fraud. So, yeah. Hello, Left Side Phil. Is Bunny Bennett done streaming already? Hi.
And you can find out they're not just allegations. They're allegations supported by sworn testimony.
Okay, I need to see if I can find like a higher quality stream, because Bloomberg Quick Take obviously uploaded the shittiest version of this, and it's really starting to bug me. Okay, let's do Rudy Giuliani press conference. Okay. Here, let's maybe look at
immigrants
the Hill.
who are going to be allowed to vote. You knew if you lived in Philadelphia.
This quality is really bad too. Maybe Fox?
Thank you very much for coming. This is representative of our legal team. We're representing President Trump, and we're representing the Trump campaign. That's not me saying that.
Okay, this is at
That's
least
American citizens saying
marginally
that
better.
under oath. I don't know. Again, in Philadelphia, what happened to that? The thing. Now, I don't know. You're going to tell me that 60 people are lying?
Okay, so, okay. Here, we'll go to the Independent, because Fox News doesn't... What the fuck? Alright, whatever.
In Camden to vote. They do every year. Happens all the time in Philly. It's about as frequent as getting beaten up at a Philadelphia Eagle football game. Happens all the time. All the time.
Oh, it's so much better.
And it's allowed to happen because it is a Democrat.
Oh, the polygons aren't
city.
stabbing me anymore.
And has been for years. Many, many years. And they carried it out.
Oh, we're getting there, Pezzy. We're getting there. Oh, it's so much better.
And to represent the president. It's your job to read these things and not falsely report that there's no evidence. Well, they did. They of the state of Wisconsin already decided ballots. They state it's not a right, a privilege. And they have 44 last time I looked. The margin in Michigan was 146,121. And these ballots were all cast basically in Detroit. I mean, what's happened to this country if we're going to let that happen? What happened to this country if we're going to cover that up? We let Al Gore carry on an election dispute.
There we go.
Longer than this one has been going on for one state and for Chads. This happened in
Always
Pennsylvania.
The Chads,
it happened
not
in
the Stacys.
Michigan. Michigan probably right now. If I count up the
Oh
affidavits,
yeah, it is sped up.
Just one case alone, Trump v. Benson, a case that we dismissed today because that case was attempting to get the Wayne County Board of Supervisors to decertify. Well, they did. They decertified.
Yeah, the Chads.
That case has 100 affidavits. And the 100 affidavits show essentially what I've talked to you about. Counting ballots improperly, counting them 3 and 4 times, having people vote 3 and 4 times, changing and
also,
backdating ballots.
Sorry,
to the point of at least...
We traded the higher quality, but apparently there are no captions on this video, so apologies for that.
300,000 illegitimate ballots that we can specifically identify. The margin in Michigan was 146,121, and these ballots were all cast basically in Detroit, that Biden won 80-20. So you see a change as a result of the election in Michigan, if you take out Wayne County. So it's a very significant case. That is being raised in the case of Costantino versus the city of Detroit. Not by us, but by an individual plaintiff. We are helping and assisting in that case, however. And you can find all the affidavits that you want filed in that case. And you can find out they're not just allegations.
They're supposed to be auto-generated
supported
by YouTube.
Sworn testimony, which is a lot better than Joe Biden has ever done on anything. He doesn't answer questions, much less give you sworn affidavits. Wisconsin had a very small margin. 20,544 last time I looked. In Wisconsin, without going into great detail, very similar plan. Republicans shut out in the city of Milwaukee and also in Madison. Republicans almost uniformly shut out from the absent.
So, guys, here's another thing. And I think that we need to just make a note of this because it's a thing that happens. This is also an attempt to essentially push minorities out of voting and delegitimize minority votes. Because minorities in this country predominantly live in large cities. And again, these large cities are being called into question. Most of Wisconsin's black population lives in Milwaukee. So when Rudy Giuliani's like, yeah, there was a conspiracy theory in Milwaukee. It's just an evil Democrat city. There is also the underlying connotation that the blacks and the brown people are behind it. You know.
Process, not allowed to inspect, not allowed to look at the ballots. We have in Milwaukee and in the state of Wisconsin a much stricter law. Wisconsin doesn't allow mail-in ballots. They didn't buy into the big mail-in ballot situation. Wisconsin, when you look at their constitution, almost seems to not like absentee ballots. They state it's not a right, a privilege. And they have very, very strict procedures. And the strict procedure says that you can't be given an absentee ballot. You have to personally apply for it. It's illegal, basically, to solicit a vote. And they have actually many reasons for it. It probably goes back to their progressive days. When I say progressive, I mean late 19th century, early 20th century progressive, when that really meant progressive, not retrogressive. So
what the fuck? Rudy Giuliani, you hate progressives. Like, what you would have hated them back then too.
There are 60,000 ballots in Milwaukee County and 40,000 ballots in Madison that, as far as we can tell, and this is why we're auditing, because we have very good information that the numbers are going to come out about here, that don't have applications. Under the law of the state of Wisconsin, already decided, if there's no application for an absentee ballot, the absentee ballot is thrown away. This all happened in two places in Wisconsin. It didn't happen in northern Wisconsin. It didn't happen in Republican Wisconsin. It didn't happen in neutral Wisconsin, where there are an equal number of Republicans and Democrats. It happened in a place where the vote was 75, 80% for the Democrat.
Again, because most of the minorities live in those two places, Rudy. Most of the minorities in Wisconsin live in those two places, Rudy.
You take away any number of those, and that 20,000 lead disappears. In other words, if you count the lawful votes, Trump won Wisconsin by a good margin. Indeed, if you count the lawful votes in Pennsylvania, he won it by about 300,000 votes. Also, in the lawsuit filed in Wisconsin.
Weird. Well, then it should be really easy for you to prove that the what votes were lawful and what votes weren't, Rudy. Should be pretty easy for you then, I guess.
Which is really a petition because of their procedures. There were no inspectors provided for the count of the illegal ballots. There were numerous backdated ballots. We're just counting them now, run over into the thousands. And there were many precincts in which there was an overvote. Now let me explain to you what an overvote is, which is something you should have explained to the American people, because it's about the clearest circumstantial evidence of massive fraud that you can have. An overvote is if 200% of the people who are registered in a district vote. Think about that. 200% of the registered voters in a district vote. What does that mean? That means somebody voted twice. That means somebody who's not entitled to vote voted, an illegal, a person from another city or state, a person who's not registered. But what it means is that
some people guys, I know this is a crazy concept, but some people register on election day. In some states, you can register on election day. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Those are illegitimate votes. You don't have an overvote of 200% or 300%. You don't have an overvote of 100%. Most precincts don't have 100% turnout. In fact, classically, it's considered to be an overvote if you go over 80%. Well, in Michigan and Wisconsin, we have overvotes in numerous precincts of 150%, 200%, and 300%. One of the reasons why the two Republicans did not certify in Wayne County, Michigan, is because the overvote was so high, monstrously high, in about 2/3 of the precincts in the city of Detroit, which means magically 2 and 3 times the number of registered voters turned out to vote. In fact, we have precincts in which 2 times the number of people who live there, including children, voted. That's absurd. The frustration of this is, what I'm describing to you is a massive fraud. It isn't a little teeny one. It isn't, 100 votes switched here or there.
Yeah, exactly, William of Orange. Like, if it is as massive as Rudy Giuliani is saying, then it should be relatively easy for him to prove it. So, I'm kind of wondering why he's sweating like crazy during this press conference when everyone else looks relatively fine.
Georgia. We're about to file a major lawsuit in Georgia. That'll be filed probably tomorrow. I don't need to go through it. Virtually the same things I've told you before. In the city of Atlanta, Republicans were not allowed to watch the absentee mail-in ballot process. Inspections completely cast aside. And we have numerous double voters. We have numerous out-of-state voters. And we have specific evidence of intimidation and changes of vote. That'll all be in the lawsuit that comes out tomorrow. Arizona is a state that we're looking at very, very carefully. I would say we're probably going to bring a lawsuit in Arizona. More than probably. I think we are going to bring a lawsuit in Arizona. We're still collecting that evidence.
Oh, no, they haven't gotten
and
to
the
that
state that we're looking at that would surprise you is we have very, very significant amount of fraud allegations in the state of New Mexico, which...
I mean, I don't necessarily care that much that he's sweating. I just find it very funny because it seems like the stereotype of a nervous lawyer who's lying through his teeth. But, I like that. It's just funny to me,
We have a significant number of allegations in the state of Virginia. I don't know yet whether the number in Virginia will reach the number that can turn the election. In the states that we have indicated in red, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, we more than double the number of votes needed to overturn the election in terms of provable illegal ballots. All you got to do.
Yeah, it looks like she has like spaghettis around her neck. Wait, that came out wrong. It looks like she has spaghetti noodles around her neck. Pasta noodles? What are those called? looks like she has spaghettis around her neck. Yeah, it looks like a noose. It really does. I said that at the beginning.
To find out if I'm misleading you at all is to look at the lawsuits. Look what's alleged. Look at the affidavits. Maybe we can supply more affidavits. In order to do it, I have to get permission from the people. But in the materials I have here, there are at least 10.
This guy's not
come from
sweating
citizens.
like crazy.
We have 1,000 at least, and we're getting more every day. And there are other aspects of this fraud that, at this point, I really can't reveal. This is really enough. It's enough to overturn any election. It's disgraceful what happened, and I'll conclude by asking you to just think about this for a minute. What happened on the morning of November 3rd when they were going to count this new kind of ballot?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I thought this was photoshopped. I thought this was, I saw pictures of this online. I thought it was photoshopped. Oh no. Oh no. He looks like he's being sent right now. Oh no. She's looking right at it too. Whew. Yeah, it's not blood. It's like ink from his hair. It's like he just got done getting a dye job done, but he hasn't had time to wash his hair yet. Oh no. Oh, honey.
Ballot, this mail-in ballot. Did every Democrat leader in Pennsylvania?
Oh, it's on this side too. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Could be hair powder? Nah, hair powder doesn't leak like that.
And in Michigan, and in Wisconsin, and in Georgia, and in Nevada, and in Arizona, they all wake up and all separately have the same idea? Did they all separately have the idea that we're going to put Republican inspectors in pens? We're not going to let them look at mail-in or absentee ballots? They all independently come up with that. Like,
there's a Rudy Giuliani. It's not really that hard to understand. There's a massive pandemic going on right now, so people don't want to be within 6 feet of like other people. So, yeah. Oh boy. all screen freezes of Rudy Giuliani look great. It looks like he's ripping a giant fart. I game appreciate game, you know? Oh yeah, none of them are wearing masks.
Just by coincidence. They say, hey, we're going to put the Republicans in pens and corrals. We're going to do it in Pittsburgh. We're going to do it in Philadelphia. We're going to do it in Detroit. We're going to do it in Milwaukee. We're going to do it in Las Vegas. We're going to do it in Phoenix. What did I miss? Oh, we're going to do it in Atlanta. Or isn't the logical conclusion that I think any jury would accept as they heard this evidence that somebody had this plan? Maybe that was always the plan?
No, coming to the conclusion that it's an elaborate conspiracy spanning the entire country is not the logical conclusion during a massive pandemic. No, that's not the logical conclusion, Rudy Giuliani.
To do this very, very questionable form of voting, which has been criticized by President Carter, by Secretary Baker, by
this very questionable form of voting that we've been doing since the Civil War. Yeah, super, super questionable. Who'd ever heard of mail-in voting until this year?
most experts on election
Yeah, do they not have air conditioning? What the hell?
reform.
Oh, yeah. 77% of Trump supporters believe all of this. Absolutely. But, I just want to really emphasize to anyone who's popping into this that this is not the logical conclusion of anything that he's said at all. Trump supporters just don't believe that the pandemic is a big deal. We've known this for a long time. They're half as likely to think that the pandemic is a serious threat as Democrats. Yeah, you should always question everything. True. Also, Ultimate Sosig, welcome to my chat, and I hope you enjoy your time here, however long you spend. And I hope you're having a great day.
The logical conclusion is this is a common plan, a common scheme. It comes right directly from the Democrat Party, and it comes from...
Okay, Rudy Giuliani. Either you have an unprecedented conspiracy, the likes of which our country has never seen, to rig an election, or you have a very common plan and a common scheme. Which one is it, Rudy Giuliani? Because it can't be both.
candidate. Clearly. That's the reason why Hillary Clinton said, don't concede, even if you're losing. That's the reason.
No, she fucking said don't concede even if you're losing, because Donald Trump has for like the last 6 months been saying you shouldn't vote by mail if you're Republican. You should vote in person. And Democrats have been urging their supporters to vote by mail because there's a historic pandemic going around and people don't want to die. This is not that hard to understand. Yeah, we have libraries full of evidence. I wish I could show it to you, but so far we only have 8. 8 claims that we haven't been able to back up in court yet.
Had a Freudian slip by the candidate, and he said he had the best voter fraud team in the country. That's the reason why he probably didn't have to go out and campaign.
Oh gosh.
He had to have known
there.
what they were going to do. This had to be planned in advance.
Oh, no.
I'm kind of checking. Did they go, to the same contractor to get the corrals to put the Republicans in?
Yeah.
And this is a disgraceful thing.
Probably
not much more.
Sorry, guys. I saw the evidence on a Discord somewhere. I don't have the evidence with me right now, but trust me, I saw it on a Discord somewhere. It exists. Okay, like, someone posted it. I don't know who, but I'm sure it's there.
Disgraceful than the things these people did in office.
Yeah, Gaddafi
which
has
you
it.
didn't,
True.
and don't bother to cover, and you conceal from the American people.
Sources, bro. Trust me.
If we let this happen,
Yeah.
We use largely a Venezuelan voting machine, in essence, to count our vote. If we let this happen, we're going to become Venezuela. We cannot let this happen to us. We cannot not allow.
Okay. Are we almost okay, we're almost to the part where it goes off the rails, which it's already off the rails, but
These crooks, because that's what they are, to steal an election from the American people. They elected Donald Trump. They didn't elect Joe Biden. Joe Biden is in the lead because of the fraudulent ballots, the illegal ballots
it's
that
staining
were produced
his shirt.
and that were allowed to be used after the election was over. Give us an opportunity to prove it in court, and we will. Now I'm going to ask Sidney Powell to describe to you what we can describe about another totally outrageous situation. I don't think most Americans know that our ballots get calculated, many of them outside the United States, and are completely open to hacking, completely open to change, and it's being done by a company that specializes in voter fraud. I'll let Sidney describe that to you.
Thank you, Rudy. What we are really dealing with here and uncovering more by the day.
Oh man, she really should have done her man a solid and like whispered to him like, "Hey, you have hair dye dripping down your face." They really should have saved him from this, but they didn't. All right, let's keep going.
Is the massive influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the.
None of those countries are communist. But we'll continue, because so far everything she said is wrong.
Interference with our elections here in the United States. The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election after one constitutional referendum came out the way he did not want it to come out.
Damn. It really seems like maybe we shouldn't have adopted those voting systems then, if they were made by a dictator, huh? Maybe we shouldn't have adopted those on a wide range. Wait, how did the Trump administration with a crack team specializing in election fraud not catch that the Dominion voter system was directly injecting Venezuelan socialism into our elections? How did we not catch this when we had years and years of people, Republicans, having complete control over the investigations into these voting systems? How did we not catch this with this malicious attack on our democracy? Okay, guys, I have it. I figured it out. Okay, my massive socialist brain, I'm able to think like them, right? Like I know how to think like Venezuelans. I know how to think like Cubans. I know how to think like the Chinese. So here's what happened, guys, okay? Okay, bear with me. We're about to go on a journey. Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez says, "Hey, I never want to lose an election again, boyos." And they're like, "Okay, sir, we'll make you the most fraudulent election system ever devised by man." And they're like, "Okay, sweet. So they get to work. They're coding on their their Windows 2000 computers, because they're still operating on Windows 2000. They're typing away. They code up the machines. They're like, dang it, we don't have the capacity with our poor impoverished Venezuelan resources to make these machines. And China steps in. Xi Jinping goes, yo bro, I got this. We're gonna manufacture these machines on the cheap. We got this. So China takes the code from Venezuela, right? And Venezuela is like, sweet, yes, now we just have to bide our time, because though we made these machines to rig our own elections, secretly we want to use them to rig the U.S. elections for some reason. And they sent the code off to China, and China manufactured these machines. But then China's like, okay, we're sending them back to you over in Venezuela, but we have a nefarious plan to overthrow the capitalist pig dogs in U.S. of A. And they're like, oh, okay, what's the plan? Hugo Chavez's ghost at this point says, okay, what's the plan? And China, Xi Jinping's like, I know just the guy. And they use necromancy, Chinese necromancy, to bring back Fidel Castro. And Fidel Castro's like, look, I know the ways of the CIA and the FBI. They tried to kill me with comical cigars. So, I have a plan to get my vengeance on America, and that plan is to use a rusty tugboat to bring over shipments of these voting machines and set them up in the United States via a comical heist, like a reverse heist, kind of like a reverse Ocean's 11. They're gonna go in and they're gonna put the voting machines in like the polling stations, the election places on election day, and they managed to pull it off. They had a Cuba. You can have a lot of complaints about Cuba, but communism allows them to train elite Danny Ocean-like squads of reverse heisters. So they go in and, they just have thousands of these people sneak these voting machines into every election place in America so that they can get Joe Biden elected. Joe Biden, noted lover of Cuba, noted lover of communism, Joseph Robinette Biden, so they can get him elected. Because Cuba was very scared about Donald Trump being in office again. Anyway, that's the entire leftist plot against Donald Trump. Can you post a link here to a news article? Sure, send it to one of my mods, and my mod can post it for you. All right, let's listen to this lady.
We have one very strong witness who has explained how it all works. His affidavit is attached to the pleadings of Lynn Wood in the lawsuit he filed in Georgia.
Oh, awesome. They have one guy who explained how the entire thing works. They got one guy, people. This case is locked tight. They got one guy.
It is a stunning, detailed affidavit because he was with Hugo Chavez while he was being briefed on how it worked. He was with Hugo Chavez when he saw it operate to make sure the election came out his way.
Do you guys want to bet money that like this one guy who was with Hugo Chavez like performed a seance with a Ouija board and like claims to have talked with Hugo Chavez?
Was the express purpose for creating this software.
Their one guy, Alex Jones. True.
And as soon as he saw the multiple
True.
states shut down the voting on the night of the election, he knew the same thing was happening here, that was what had gone on. Now, the software itself was created.
Okay, so let's just summarize one more time, okay? They have one guy. They have one guy who was allegedly with with Chavez at the time that this system was developed. And then he saw the election shut down on election night and made the mental leap that it's the exact same system used in this software. And that's the evidence that they have. There's one guy, Sacha Baron Cohen. I would literally lose my brain. It would just poof, disappear out of my head via a portal. Gaunt 835. I'm a market socialist, my dude, so I don't support either party. I use whatever's expedient to achieve my political goals, and at the moment, those political goals are fighting with the neo-libs in the Democratic Party. Oh gosh. The birthday party. True. New York Times info about fake ballot boxes. Oh yeah. I covered this story. Yeah. California Republican Party admits it placed misleading ballot boxes around the state. Yeah. I remember this story on election day, or like around election day, where basically the state was like, "Hey, you're breaking the law," and the Republican Party just said, "I know," and kept doing it. Yeah.
Created with so many variables and so many back doors that can be hooked up to the internet or a thumb drive stuck in it or whatever. But one of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to President Biden, which we might never.
Okay, so even if we take this at face value that this system has the ability to do that, do you have evidence of it doing that? Because I think that if you had evidence, if you had access to these machines, you would be able to get a history of what operations they did, and you'd be able to detect fairly easily whether or not there was an algorithm deceptively changing the vote.
Have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system, and that's what caused them to have to shut down in the states they shut down in. That's when they came in the back door with all the mail-in ballots, many of which they had actually fabricated. Some were on pristine paper with identically matching perfect circle dots for Mr. Biden.
Again, this is the evidence that they have, right? The ballots had pristinely filled in dots, guys. This is so fucking awful. What the fuck? This is like, guys, again, you could not write better comedy than this, right? Like, I think when there is in 5 to 10 years, when there's an inevitable like sitcom based on the Trump administration, they're just gonna use like word for word dialogue from all of this. You can't write this better. You can't write this better. If you tried to write this, people would just be like, "This is too on the nose. This is too on the nose, everybody. You can't write this." But because it's true, you can just say these things. This is amazing. This is gonna be fantastic comedy gold when they inevitably do it.
Others were shoved in batches. They're always put in a certain number of batches, and people would rerun the same batch. This corresponds to our statistical
citation fucking needed. Again, like, she's just saying, yeah, people would put in the same batch into the vote counting machines, and like, it's yeah, this, it's evidence of voter fraud that they were putting in the same number of ballots. Yeah. Yeah, if you're not at war, Gaunt, if you're not at war with the other country and you just indiscriminately murder an official from another country, yeah, that's pretty much a war crime, yeah. Yeah, she's just like, yeah, she's got her own little world going on back there. I have no idea who she is, but I kind of love her.
Evidence that shows incredible spikes in the
yeah, Trump did that. It's true. Trump committed war crimes.
vote counts at particular times, and that corresponds to eyewitness testimony of numerous people who have come forward and said that they saw the ballots come in the back door at that time. Notably,
saw the ballots coming in the back door, huh? It's so lewd.
The Dominion executives are nowhere to be found now. They are moving their offices overnight to different places. Their office in Toronto was shared with one of the Soros entities. One of the
Whoa, whoa, what? Okay. So now we've gone from there's an elaborate Democrat conspiracy where they are taking votes and allocating them and fucking showing up with Chinese fabricated ballots, and now we've moved on from that to fucking they have Venezuelan voting machines that are funded by China and Cuba, and also the company behind this has scrammed their business offices, and those business offices are owned by George Soros. This is okay. This is I don't know who this lady is, but she clearly comes from she's like the human embodiment of a right wing alt-right forum post. Have they gone full QAnon yet? I mean, this is basically QAnon. This is basically QAnon bullshit. Guys, it's not a noose. It's a Q. It's a Q, guys. It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
leaders of the Dominion project in overall is Lord Malloch Brown.
She's Q. Yeah, she's telling us, guys. Guys, she's Q. We all assumed Q was a man because we're sexist. Oh no. Oh no. It's on International Men's Day. She's sending a message of female empowerment through Q. I assume everything about Venezuelan voting machines is just absolute bullshit. Yeah, I feel like that's probably a safe assumption. You know what, I'd be willing to grant, though, that maybe there's, some aspect of this where, they outsourced to, some contractor, and it was, a Venezuelan contractor to code things for cheap. The same way we outsource things to India for people to code things for cheap. I would imagine it's somewhere in there, you know? We should give monkeys citizenship? Oh, no! Well, what kind of monkeys, though, Gaunt? What kind of monkeys? We talking about capuchin monkeys? I agree. We talking about orangutans? No.
Mr. Soros, number 2 person in the UK and part of his organization. There are ties of the Dominion leadership to the Clinton Foundation and to other known politicians in this country. Just to give you a brief description of how this worked, I'm going to quote from a letter that was written, and I will read that to make sure I get the quotes right. This person was objecting to the United States acquisition of Sequoia voting systems by Smartmatic, a foreign-owned company. I believe this transaction raises exactly the sort of foreign ownership issues.
Wait, whose letter is it? You're just reading a letter? What? I'm baffled by this. I knew this was batshit, right? I knew this was gonna go off the rails, but whose letter? Yeah, it's some person's letter. Anecdote Andy over here. True.
That CFIUS is best positioned to examine for national security purposes. It's undisputed that Smartmatic is foreign-owned and it has acquired Sequoia. They keep changing the names as they go along. Different times when a problem comes up, they just create another corporation and call it a different name. But it was a voting machine company doing business in the United States. Sequoia voting machines were used to...
Why is she nervous as fuck? Her voice is trembling. Is her family, behind the flags and being held at gunpoint? What? Guys, what is happening in this press conference? I'm honestly really concerned. Yeah, it's almost like she knows this is going to end her career. True. This might be her first time lying.
125 million votes during the 2004 presidential election in the United States. Smartmatic now acknowledges that Antonio Mujica, a Venezuelan businessman, has controlling interest in Smartmatic, but the company has not revealed who all the Smartmatic owners are. According to the press, Smartmatic's owners are hidden through a web of offshore private entities, and that is, in fact, true. Smartmatic has been associated...
Why are we talking about Smartmatic, though? Why aren't we talking about Dominion? What the fuck does this have to do with anything? Also, Rudy, your hair is leaking again. Oh no!
Associated with the Venezuelan government led by Hugo Chavez, which is openly hostile to the United States, and of course, as we all know, communistic and really brutalizing its own people. The system has been continued there.
Again, Venezuela's not communist. Let's see. The AP's fact check on this video is destroying any hopes they have of getting a judge to even accept this case. Oh, wait. Oh, I don't see the fact check. Is Chavez still alive? No, he died a while ago. Oh, here we go. Oh dear. Multiple pathways to victory. We put it on a chart, everybody, so it must be true. Let's look at the claims and the reality. Okay, we'll go over this after we finish the video. This is too good. I want to finish this.
By Mr. Maduro and ensured his election. Smartmatic's possible connection to the Venezuelan government poses
Reject modernity, embrace monkey. True, true.
a potential national security concern in the context of its acquisition of Sequoia, because electronic voting machines are susceptible to tampering, and insiders are in the best position to engage in such tampering. This letter expresses concern of the Chicago 2006 primary election. And it ends by saying the products and services that are of Venezuelan origin, and evaluate Smartmatic's ownership to determine who could have influence and control over these and other Sequoia products and services are important to the national security of the United States. This letter was written to Hank Paulson on October 6, 2006 by Congresswoman Carolyn B. Maloney.
I don't know who either of those people are or why this is relevant. Why is this relevant? Why did you just read us this letter about things that have nothing to do with what we were talking about? Sequoia and Infotech, whatever it was called, don't have anything to do with Dominion, so why are you talking about it?
Senators Klobuchar and Warren have raised these concerns as recently as December 2019. Why our government has not taken them seriously is beyond my comprehension, unless they have, some of the three-letter agencies have used them themselves in other parts of the world. We know that the technology was exported to affect an election in Argentina. That's admitted by our friend who wrote the affidavit about Hugo Chavez and his interest in Smartmatic. Again, in 2006, Carolyn Maloney wrote the Honorable John Snow, the Secretary of the Treasury, about the issues. Speaking of Smartmatic's leadership, one of the Smartmatic patent holders, Eric Coomer, I believe his name is on the web as being recorded in a conversation with Antifa members saying that he had the election.
Wait, what? A conversation with Antifa members?
Speaking of Smartmatic's leadership, one of the Smartmatic patent holders.
Again, I don't understand why she's talking about Smartmatic. I don't know why this is relevant, since everything they were talking about before this was about Dominion voting systems. But okay, let's learn about how Antifa is tied into all this.
Eric Coomer, I believe his name is on the web as being recorded in a conversation with Antifa members saying that he had the election rigged for Mr. Biden, nothing to worry about here, and they were going to F Trump. His social media is filled with hatred for the president and for the United States of America as a whole, as are the social media accounts of many other Smartmatic people.
I don't understand how the Smartmatic systems are at all related to Dominion. Is she just saying the Smartmatic systems are biased because the president of the company doesn't like Donald Trump? Like, he's a private citizen. He's allowed to like or dislike whoever he pleases. All right, yeah, raise your hand if you're an Antifa Coomer. Yeah.
There has been widespread use of this. Dominion itself is utilized in 2,000 jurisdictions in 30 states. It has been uncertifiable in multiple states who realized all the problems that it had,
there are
including
many storms
Texas.
in life, but remember
Experts
the
have
bananas
described
are
it
always the
across the
sweetest
board,
after the
from
rain.
a Princeton group of 3 professors to experts that we have talked to about its end user vulnerabilities. People can admittedly go in and change whatever they want. They can set the ratio of votes from one thing to another. They can say that a Biden vote counts as 1.25 and a Trump vote counts as 0.75. And those
now, I don't have experience with these systems, but I don't think this is true. I don't think that someone can go in and say, yeah, a vote doesn't actually count as a vote in these systems.
be the numbers that were actually used here. It's not just the swing states that were affected. The algorithm was likely run across the country to affect the entire election. Like I said, we only discovered it this year because
Guys, Tim Pool was right. Trump really did win 49 states. It's just the Dominion voting systems. They moved it all in favor of Biden. Tim Pool was right, everybody. Oh, did she say algorithm? I missed it. Algorithms be very sus.
Of the overwhelming number of votes for President Trump in the swing states that caused the machines to have to shut down for them to backfill for adding votes. We have evidence of different numbers of votes being injected into the system, the same identical, unique 6-digit number multiple times in at least 2 states that we've analyzed so far. And I'm talking about like 341,542 votes for Biden and 100,012 for Trump. There's no explanation, no logical explanation for the same numbers being injected 20 minutes apart into the machine. The software manual itself, you can download it from the internet, and I would encourage you all to read it because it specifically advertises some of these things as features of the system. Why it was ever allowed into this country is beyond my comprehension, and why nobody has dealt with it is absolutely appalling. The machines were easily accessible to hackers. There's a video on the net that will explain to you how a kid with a cell
Yeah, but we knew this in 2016. We talked about, like, Democrats were talking about election security in 2016. We talked about how Russian interference moved these machines in 2016. We talked about how there were security breaches in 2016 from foreign agents. So any of the fault of these security weaknesses still being in place is squarely on the shoulders of the Trump administration. Oh no! Oh my gosh. Because transparency is at the core of what we do, it's important that the facts about us are well known, our origins and our work powering elections around the world. Smartmantic is 100% privately owned. Smartmantic has no ties to political parties or groups in any country and abides by a stringent code of ethics that forbids the company to ever donate to any political campaigns of any kind. Our headquarters were based in Florida for many years, but we have since moved to London to service its global client base. George Soros does not have and has never had any ownership stake in Smartmantic. Guys, they had to clarify it. We did not deploy our technology in any U.S. county during the 2016 U.S. presidential elections. Oh, they must be getting so much shit behind the scenes on this, guys. Our technology has never been compromised. Oh my lord. Wow, this is a bold claim. Our election technology has handled more than 3.7 billion votes over the last 14 years in election projects on 5 continents without a single discrepancy. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Sorry guys. It's 100% privately owned by Antifa. Can someone sue someone else? Yeah, true. Oh, this was good. Thank you very much, whoever originated that link. I love it. I love it so much. That was incredibly funny to me. All right.
cell phone can hack one of these voting machines. There's been no oversight of Dominion or its software. Workers in each county were trained by Dominion, but there's no evidence of any monitoring otherwise. We have testimony of different workers admitting that they were trained how to dispose of Trump votes and add to Biden votes. The software has a feature pursuant to which you can drag and drop any number of batches of votes to the candidate of your choice or simply throw them away. So we have mathematical evidence in a number of states of massive quantities of Trump votes being trashed. Just simply put it in the trash like you would on your computer with any file. And
man, that should be pretty easy to prove then. I can't wait to see evidence of this in court.
Biden votes being injected. That's addition to the flipping. I mean, it really happens in two ways. There's an algorithm that runs that automatically flips all the votes, and then each operator has the ability to go in, override settings. They can ignore signature. They can ignore the top line of the ballot. They can go down ballot and select who they want to change the results for. The gentleman who founded Smartmatic, there's video of him on the internet explaining that, yes, at least one occasion he admits they changed 1 million votes with no problem. Many of the jurisdictions that have had this problem might not have known of the issues, but many did. And I think a full-scale criminal investigation needs to be undertaken immediately by the Department of Justice and by every state's equivalent, Attorney General's office or state investigatory unit, because there's evidence of different benefits being provided to the people who spent $100 million of taxpayer money at the last minute for their state to get the Dominion voting systems put in time for this election in different ways. There's one person that a lawyer told me got, quote, election insurance, meaning that he would be able to make sure he was elected. I'm sure they explained that feature in detail to many people who expressed interest in putting this voting system in. Texas denied certification of the Dominion system in 2019, but there are no doubt issues with the software that Texas did use, unbeknownst to Texas, I would imagine, since they went to great trouble to examine the Dominion systems and reject them. But other software, the source code that does the alterations is embedded, we've been told, in the source code all across the country in all the voting machines.
It's a secret code, guys. It's a code. It's like Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code, except in computers. There's a secret code that allows them to change millions of votes on a whim. And who's them? The secret Democratic conspiracy to destroy America's election integrity, of course. That we have yet to prove.
There's no doubt it has been used to alter elections in other countries. We know specifically that Venezuela exported it for that purpose to Argentina and other Latin American companies to make sure that the corrupt rulers who were willing to pay the highest price for being in office were allowed to rig their elections. This is stunning, heartbreaking, infuriating, and the most unpatriotic acts I can even imagine for people in this country to have participated in any way, shape, or form. And I want the American public to know right now that we will not be intimidated. American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
True. I look forward to the second part of that, though, where you prove it. I look forward to you proving it. That's what I most look forward to. Because again, guys, you can have a press conference in front of the entire fucking world. It's not illegal to lie. Freedom train coming through. True. Trump might even win all 50 states. Trump might even win all 50 states, guys. I just, like, guys, this would be absolutely hilarious if it wasn't for the fact that so many people out there believe her. They believe her in an unironic way. They believe that this has been an attack on our nation, that we are being overtaken by the deep state, that we are under attack, and that they need to take up arms. And so, with all of these claims, essentially, each one of these is making it so that if Biden wins, we're going to have a bunch of heavily armed, extremely angry and skeptical people out there who are going to be participating in some kind of resistance movement to anything that they view as contrary to their political beliefs, whether that's trans people, whether it is Democratic officials. We're going to have a really fucking big problem on our hands, and I'm frankly scared of what's going to happen when Biden takes office. Or rather, if Trump remains in office because he's able to prove all of these fantastic allegations in court.
How come you're not suing in the Wisconsin counties that use this? Why are you only doing a recount?
Excuse me, that we're not out to the questions at this point. Excuse me, we're not at the questions at
snap.
this point. My name is Jenna Ellis, and I'm the senior legal.
Oh snap! She's laying the smackdown. Oh Lord, she coming.
Vote for freedom.
Okay, I want to hear the questions.
How come you're not suing doing in the Wisconsin counties that use it? Why are you only doing a recount?
And excuse me, that we're not out to the questions at this point. So excuse me, we're not at the questions at this point. My name is Jenna Ellis, and I'm the senior legal advisor to the Trump campaign, and I'd like to just explain now where we've been and where we're at and what you can expect from this process. So what you have heard, I'm sure, in the fake newspapers tomorrow will be one of two things. Either there was not sufficient evidence that we've presented, or we spoke too long. Okay, so what you've heard now is basically an opening statement. This is what you can expect to see when we get to court to actually have a full trial on the merits, to actually...
Yeah. We know. This isn't a trial. We know this isn't a trial. We know that you're just you're just able to say whatever. You can say whatever in an opening statement. So like we'll find out whether this is true when they go to court. You know, they have to be able to prove this. So I guess she came up here to clarify this. I don't know. Let's keep going, I guess.
Actually show this evidence in court and prove our case. This is not a Law and Order episode where everything is neatly wrapped up in 60 minutes. For those of you who are here in this room or have maybe tuned out in other networks, clearly you've never been court reporters. Trials take time. Putting on evidence takes time. This is basically an opening statement so the American people can understand what the networks have been hiding and what they refuse to cover.
Again, the Trump team has lost 29 out of 30 legal cases so far for this election. So far. They have been unable to present anything of enough merit for it to go to court, like to continue to go through the court system. So anyway, let's keep going, I guess.
Because all of your fake news headlines are dancing around the merits of this case and are trying to delegitimize what we are doing here. Let me be very clear that our objective is to make sure to preserve and protect election integrity. President Trump has been saying from day one that this is about maintaining free and fair elections in this country. It is not about overturning an outcome. It is about making sure that election integrity is preserved. And every American...
Yeah, Donald Trump, well-known election integrity prover. Donald Trump, he really cares about integrity. That's why he doesn't pay his contractors. That's why he's gone bankrupt 13 times and not paid his debts. You know, Donald Trump, he really cares about fairness and equality. President Donald Trump, freedom fighter. True.
Should want that. If every American is not on board with that, you have to ask yourself why. And if your fake news network is not covering this or allowing you to cover it fairly and accurately, you should ask yourself why. This is absolutely a legitimate legal basis. We have been asked to provide...
I need to emphasize that this is a legal representative. This is part of his legal team. And she's just coming out saying that all the news coverage of this is just fake news and isn't real. Which pretty funny.
An entire case that generally would take years in civil litigation. I've been a prosecutor. I have tried cases with far simpler facts. One thing happened in a matter of minutes, and it still takes days. And we go through a jury process. This is the court of public opinion right now. We are not trying our case in the court of public opinion, because if we were, we would get unbiased jurors. I would strike 99% of you from the jury, and I would be allowed to because of the fake news coverage you provide. You are not unbiased jurors. And until you step out of your role as a journalist and actually go into a courtroom and you are a judge on a bench...
What the fuck is she talking about? They're journalists. This is their fucking job. Why is she lecturing them to not be jurors? They're clearly not jurors. What? Guys, granted, I have been drinking every time they've said the word algorithm, but this clearly isn't what they're not there to be jurors. This isn't a courtroom. Yeah, we're all aware. We're all fucking aware of that. But that's the entire point of what I'm saying, right? Like, when Rudy Giuliani's up there and says, yeah, we have 8 affidavits. You can make an affidavit about fucking anything, guys. When the noose lady is up there talking about how, Hugo Chavez somehow coordinated with Cuba and China in order to get Dominion voting systems into the U.S. so that they could, the ghost of Chavez and Xi Jinping and the ghost of Castro could all collectively overthrow American sovereignty in elections to fucking Joe Biden. Again, yeah, we know it's not a courtroom. We know you guys are just saying whatever and can't be held accountable for it. Obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be saying the things that you're saying. Anyway, let's keep watching because I'm sure this is going to continue to get even better / worse.
That have sworn an oath to be unbiased in our separation of powers, then your opinion does not matter. The facts matter, the truth matters, and if you are fair reporters,
your opinion doesn't matter either in this context. Guys, I don't know if you know this. Lawyers can come out in a press conference and lie. You can lie in a press conference. If you're like you can do that. There are no legal repercussions for lying in a press conference. So everything that they have set up here is also an opinion because they haven't established any facts. Because this isn't a courtroom and they can't be held liable for anything that they're saying up here.
you will cover that fairly and appropriately, and you will allow coverage of our media team here and our legal team. That is absolutely shocking that all you cover are around the margins, and I've seen all of you taking pictures right now, and I can anticipate what your headlines are going to be.
Wait, does she want them to cover this, or does she want them not to cover it? I'm very confused.
If you are not willing to talk about the evidence that has been presented, then that is...
You didn't fucking present evidence. This isn't you just said yourself this isn't a courtroom. You're not obligated to present them evidence. All you did is state your stance on these issues. You even said at the beginning of when you were talking that this is an opening statement. You don't present evidence in opening statements. Guys, I'm not a lawyer, but I've watched a couple episodes here and there of Law and Order. And I'm fairly certain that everything she's saying right now is just complete bullshit. Anyway.
Is absolutely unacceptable for journalistic standards. This is an opening statement. This is something where we have told you what the evidence will show, and we have given you a brief description.
You guys haven't been covering this, and I don't know why. We started this press conference an hour ago, and you guys haven't been covering it. I see you all out there taking pictures. And I'm just going to assume I know how you're going to cover it, okay? And so I'm going to lecture you from my high horse right now, and yeah, it's going to be really, really good. So, yeah, you're all pieces of shit, and you shouldn't be reporting. But also, you should report on this press conference, because what we're saying right now is evidence, and it's really important. But also, none of the things we're saying up here are facts, but you're not going to report the evidence, which we're not presenting right now.
That happens in a courtroom all the time, where that's not the fact-finding process. That is just an overview. That is what we have given you today, because the American people deserve to know what we have uncovered in the last couple of weeks.
We've only presented you an overview, so why aren't you presenting the facts to the American people?
Remember, this is such a short time frame, and this is an elite strike force team that is working on behalf of the president and the campaign to make sure that our Constitution...
An elite strike force team melting under the lights.
...is protected. We are a nation of rules, not a nation of rulers. There is not someone that just gets to pick who the next president is outside the will of the American people. And that is our task, because when we talk about voter fraud, it's actually election official fraud. That cannot stand. The Constitution requires that the state legislatures are the ones that make election law. It still has to go by the U.S. Constitution. But what has happened in this case is that state and local level officials, and all the way up, have changed the rules. That's what the Democrats do. If they don't like...
And all the way up? How far up are you saying this conspiracy goes? Because so far you've implicated China, Cuba, Venezuela, you've implicated Joe Biden, you've implicated, like, everyone below Joe Biden. You said that Joe Biden had a specific team dedicated to committing voter fraud. Like, this is absolutely baffling, and I'm kind of loving every second of this. This needs to go into the sitcom that eventually gets made, okay?
The rules, they change them. And they change them at the last minute. They manipulate them. They want to tear down our American system. Our founders were so brilliant that they anticipated this, that there would be corruption, there would be foreign influence, there would be attempts to manipulate the outcome of the election, especially with who they called our chief magistrate. I would encourage all of you to go home and actually read Alexander Hamilton's Federalist 68 and see what he described as an advocacy position to adopt and ratify the Electoral College and the process by which we select.
How does this have any relevance to the case? It doesn't.
Select our president. We select our president through the Electoral College not because it disenfranchises voters, but because it is a security mechanism for exactly the type of corruption that we are uncovering. And every American should be grateful and thankful that our founders had the foresight to put in those protections and provisions to make sure that your legitimate legal vote is not disenfranchised.
Wait.
The Electoral College and the process by which we select our president. We select our president through the Electoral College not because it disenfranchises voters, but because it is a security mechanism for exactly the type of corruption that we are in.
No, that's not true. That isn't fucking true. We literally had the Electoral College in place in case, the common people ever gained enough power. The Electoral College literally exists to overturn the will of the people because the rich and the powerful and the landed gentry in this country know better than the poor, uneducated masses. That's literally why we have the Electoral College. And again, when the Electoral College was founded, they made black people only count as 3/5 of a person. And black people weren't even allowed to vote. So, this is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah. It's wild. So, anyway, the Electoral College is an outdated institution that disproportionately gives power to rural areas. Your vote actually counts less in a city than if you're in a rural area. If you're in a rural state, your vote counts more than someone who lives in a more populated state. That's pretty fucking weird in a democracy. We should get rid of the Electoral College. Just saying. One vote, one person, one vote. It's a simple concept. That's what we should have in this country.
Uncovering. And every American should be grateful and thankful that our founders had the foresight to put in those protections and provisions to make sure that your legitimate legal vote is not disenfranchised. That is what we are advocating for. We want to make sure to protect election integrity, and your president, President Trump, we are so proud that he is in this fight because he understands that when he swore his oath of office, he swore an oath to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. That is what he is doing. And that is what we are doing. We are confident that through this multiple pathway to victory, we will get to the actual outcome that the evidence shows. But this is not about overturning...
Wait, why do you have multiple pathways to victory if you have evidence for what your case shows? Why do you need multiple paths to victory? Why don't you just have one path to victory, which is showing the evidence that you have and proving it in court? That's the one pathway you have to victory.
Election on our part. It's about making sure that we protect and preserve free and fair elections for all future American elections. If the United States caves to corruption or this type of election integrity disaster,
it's true.
Then no election will be secure
it's true.
From here on out.
It's true.
And we all need to be keenly aware of that. We are the
it's true. Tommy Real Pro. They don't want black people to vote. They never have. Shark 300. Thank you very much for the raid. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Are you having a good time? Biden won. Wait, did Trump just concede on Twitter? Wait, is that true? I need to look that up. Twitter. Donald Trump. I'm in. Hacker voice. Wait. Oh, you guys got me. He didn't concede on Twitter. Though he has said that Joe Biden did win the election. You guys got me. Hello, everybody. For a little bit about me. My name is Jack. I'm a market socialist, and I use my platform to push for market socialist policies and making the world a better place. Let's build a lefty coalition to make this world less shit, okay? And guess what? This channel's all about hope pilling the shit out of you guys. So that's what I'm gonna do. Take the hope pill, friends. We can make a difference. Vickers, thank you very much for bringing me the degenerates. I appreciate that. So far, we've just been laughing our way through this incredible press conference. The hope pill is the greatest pill. It's also reasonable. True, Meko Squish. True. Also, Neko-chan16, thank you very much for the follow. Meko Squish, thank you very much for the follow. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. And Unreal Alexander, thank you for hitting that follow button. You know, we're building up a community here, and it's one awesome community, too. If any of you would like to join our Discord, we have a fun community where we post pet pics and we talk about life and share memes. And I think currently some people are putting together a D&D game. Yeah, join the Discord if you feel inclined. No pressure, comrades. Bike Shop Guru, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it. Also, just full disclosure, I'm a little bit tipsy because I've been playing a drinking game during this where I take a shot every time they say the word algorithm. It's probably not one of my best ideas. They said it a lot. It's true. They did. And also I get hots when I drink, so I had to open my window. Also, hello everyone, and again, thank you very much to a Shark 300. I'm not familiar with your channel, but I'll check it out. Okay, thank you very much for the raid. I wish it was easier for me to get a link to your stuff here. There we go. There we go. I found it, and I'm gonna click that follow button. Awesome. We did it. We did it. We've followed. We've been successful. We were all talking about how well-spoken this is on the podium. True. True. Oh, Unreal Alexander, thank you very much for the bits. 100 bits. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I am also not by any means a wealthy individual, so I greatly appreciate anything you throw my way, comrade. Wait, can I post what, Jack? Oh, yes, I will shout out SO Shark 30. Hey, we did it. Cool. Throws knickers at Jax. Aww. Let's see. Wait, Mike Cernovich is attacking Tucker Carlson on Twitter. Oh gosh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Okay, I want to finish watching this because it's too good. But we'll get to Mike Cernovich. What a fucking champ that guy is. Just punching through all of the left-wing hate he gets. I'm surprised that he's able to continue to function with all of the bullshit he spews out.
Representatives here that are standing in this gap and defending President Trump and defending you, the American people, at the end of the day. This is ultimately about the United States of America, and we want to make sure to protect and defend that. And as my colleagues have said, we will not back down. We won't be intimidated. President Trump will not be intimidated. You, the American people, should not be intimidated. You, the press, should cover this.
By the way, guys, be nice to boomers on this channel, because guess what? We have a boomer mod who invented the internet. So please be kind and everyone say thank you, Ashley, because Ashley helped invent the internet. I just like dropping in the tidbit that Ashley helped invent the internet because it's very interesting, and I think that Ashley is based in cool.
Fairly, and should know that this matters to election integrity and it matters to the future of our nation. So we have
also I'm not kidding. Ashley really did help invent the internet.
Given you an overview, but recognize this is not a court of law. We will get there, and we have time, and
True.
We have constitutional provisions that will
every time you go to Pornhub, you can thank Ashley.
Step in when we show the corruption and the irredeemably challenged and overturned votes that are absolutely corrupt in all of these counties. It is irredeemably compromised. We will show that, but you have to give us that opportunity. This has been just our opening statement, and we have an opportunity to get there, and we have time, and we will do that. This is the United States of America, and we stand proudly for President Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
One more point.
Again, I feel like I need to point out that they aren't unbiased lawyers. This is literally Trump's legal team. So when they're coming out saying we stand for the United States of America, no, you're lawyers hired by Donald Trump and his campaign.
The world is watching this. I have gotten multiple emails from people in other countries who watched the same pattern happen there. We have witness testimony that the same things were done in those countries.
Again, this lady just came out and said one person who is familiar with Hugo Chavez's approach to elections came out and said the elections shutting down the night of the election to do counting, like to suspend counting for the night, was evidence that we were using the same thing that Hugo Chavez was using. That's the one person she cited so far. This is amazing.
As this was exported from Venezuela and by Maduro and by Mr. Chavez and by Cuba. And of course we know China also has a...
Wait, was it Eva Morales? Is she just like blatantly wrong and just like fear-mongering about Hugo Chavez, who is dead, by the way? Oh, that's amazing. Oh no, he's leaking again, everybody. He's leaking. Oh, she's talking about Bolivia? What the fuck? Oh no. Oh no. Your brother Levi, thank you very much for following. I appreciate you immensely. Immensely, I appreciate you. I hope you have a great time in this community. I know that I do.
Substantial presence in Venezuela and substantial interest in making sure that President Trump does not continue in office. This is the consummate foreign interference in our...
Wait. I need to drop a link in chat really quick. Research document. Here we go. I should just have this up for streams. All right. Here, guys. Here. I'm going to drop a link. You guys can look at it. The Trump administration literally said that voter fraud wasn't a problem. Here you go. Here you go, guys. You can look at that link. You can look at that link. Literally, the Trump administration, with a supermajority, authorized an investigation into voter fraud in 2018. They were so unsuccessful in proving that it was a real thing that they just quietly shut the commission down, despite it being headed by Mike Pence and Chris Kobach, someone who has, for like the past decade, insisted that voter fraud is a huge issue in the United States. Anyway, yeah, clearly Mike Pence and... Clearly Mike Pence and Chris Kobach are part of the deep state conspiracy against Trump. True.
Our election in the most criminal way you can possibly imagine. It must be shut down. We know, for example, that one of the Dominion's highest level employees or officers went to Detroit himself to man the Detroit Operations Center, where he could watch the votes coming in real time and decide what file folder in the system to put those votes into. That's why you see massive spikes after hours when people were told that all the votes were in and all the votes were counted. Many Dominion employees have already reached out to us to tell us the truth. They are Americans who want to ensure election integrity like we do. I would encourage every Dominion or Smartmatic employee who is fed up with the corruption in this country to come forward as soon as possible, because these are serious federal offenses that I am confident the Department of Justice will be in pursuit of in very short order if they are not already.
Well, you know what? That's good. Because, as I've been saying throughout this entire video, I would love to see them prove all of this in court. Exactly, Soren Zolamas. Let them testify to this in court. I would love to see them testify to this in court. Let them get slapped with all of the perjury charges in the universe for their testimony on this subject. Because again, and I cannot stress this enough, you can literally write an affidavit about anything. You guys right now can go out and write an affidavit about how you wipe your ass when you poop. Or don't. Either way. You can go write an affidavit about anything, guys. And yes, this does very much look like a noose, Neko-chan16. It does look like a noose. It's one of the first things I noticed because we initially started watching this video, and it was from a different source that was extremely low res. So I couldn't tell that it was like shiny, and I couldn't tell what this like thing right here was. So like it looked very much more like a noose in low res.
All right. A few questions?
Yeah, Mayor Giuliani, this sort of reminds us, 30 years ago, they had federal judges doing consent decrees over elections. You got a federal judge overseeing the election.
Wait, is they censored in chat? I don't think so. I think we only have a couple words censored in chat that are mostly used by bots. I don't think they is censored. Wait, Wolverine got censored? Wolverine might have been trying to post a link. Links get censored. Like, because we have a lot of drive-by Nazis that come through here. Links get censored. Send links to mods if you want them posted. I think there might have been the word, oh gosh, Pecker. Pecker got blacklisted, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah, William of Orange, you actually did miss some drive-by Nazis earlier. There was like a really weird bot spam earlier that was like super transphobic and just like mean for no reason. It was really weird. It was really weird, yeah. Oh, he's leaking on both sides. He didn't get it! He didn't get it! Oh, no! Oh, no.
I can't say what's going to be done about...
Now we have sort of a Operation
I'm sorry, in what county?
County, Pennsylvania,
Yes.
Atlanta, there's sort of an Operation Grey Lord
Mhm.
going on. I don't know if you were
Yep,
informed of that.
I know about it. I really can't give you an opinion on that. I think, obviously,
No
every
one's
election official should
telling
learn
him.
something from this and be very, very careful with the next election. I know this is a lot of information that we've given you, probably because we're frustrated with what we keep reading and hearing in the censored press, which is that we have no evidence, we have no specifics, we have no backup of what we're saying.
Okay,
And
guys, let's clarify something. It's the adrenochrome leaking out. True, Catamaphore. True. Is this an old man thing or a Rudy thing? I think this is definitely a Rudy thing. I've seen a lot of old men who don't leak. But I just have to say, like, wow. He doesn't look great.
you largely ignore the affidavits that are filed, whether you agree or disagree with an affidavit. It's evidence. You can't say, I mean, you're just lying to the American people when you say there's no evidence. Sydney was giving you information that come from affidavits from other people that are given under oath. I was explaining things to you from affidavits that come from other people, American citizens, who swear under oath that they saw 100,000 ballots come in and that they were all for Joe Biden. And that I should point out now that Sydney has spoken, that those happened just around the time that the Dominion or Smartmatic people called a halt to the election. And then you can also trace it with a very big spike in the vote count at exactly that time. Right up. So what we're telling you is supported by evidence. And we're going to have to present these because of the procedures that exist according to the different voting laws of the different states. For example, you asked us about Wisconsin. We have to first create a contest in Wisconsin before we can move to bringing a fulsome federal lawsuit. The contest, from everything I can see, is going to overturn the vote because it's going to show somewhere around
Whoa.
100.
Where did everyone... Wait, Squid Raid? Oh, Antipodian Squid, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate that very much. Hello, I was kind of zoned out because I was looking up perjury law. Hi, everybody. Yeah, cover me in ink, everybody. It's not blood, true. You guys got... Oh, it was you guys! You guys got to Rudy first! It all makes sense now. Vulcan Princess 97, thank you very much for the follow. Seamus Cameron, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. Handsomest Robot, my goodness, you are just the best gosh darn looking robot I've ever seen in my life. Anthropodian Squid, thank you very much for the raid and the follow now. And Taco Cat 69, the nicest Taco Cat I've ever encountered. Fawn Over, thank you very much for the follow. Lysian the Cobotroid, thank you very much for the follow. I don't know what a Cobotroid is, but I'm sure it's lovely and fantastic. Xandris, thank you very much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. And Woohoo Lulu, you have a fantastic name, and I just want to give you a hug, because it's very cute. Thank you very much for the follow. Fawn over, I'm sure you are someone very much worth fawning over. Were you looking up perjury law in regards to affidavits? Yeah, it seems kind of like it depends. It kind of depends. It depends on the affidavit, I guess. And, like, also affidavits seem like they can be unsworn, so I'm confused. You have the link? Oh, go for it. Send me the link through one of my mods. Cryptosporidium 457, hello. First time seeing you in chat. Thank you very much for spending time here. Rudy, the man who married and humped his cousin, used taxpayer money to use the police force as his taxi service so he could cheat on his wife in the Hamptons. True. That the very same. The very same. Are we just looking at how people perjured themselves this month? It's just one of those things. I wanna know this entire thing has been a complete clown show. I very much enjoyed watching it. It's very funny. Let's see. Unsworn. Whoa. Remind me later to donate, I guess. Let's take a look at perjury. Let's see. Executed without the United States. Under penalty of perjury. Executed within the United States. Declare perjury. Correct and true. Okay. Any matters required to be permitted to be supported, evidence established or proved. Sworn declaration, verification, certificate, writing to make sure that people are the same, other than a deposition or an oath of office. Such matter may, just like a force and effect, be supported. Writing of such person, true under penalty of perjury. Okay, interesting. Well, again, I look forward to them proving all these claims in court. You know. Again, if it is as easy, if it is as obvious as Rudy Giuliani claims, as every single one of these people have come up on this podium to claim, if it is as obvious that voter fraud was perpetrated in this country, it should be very, very easy for them to prove it. Very easy to prove. Yeah. It seems to me it can be perjury. Yeah. I agree with you, William of Orange, after looking it up, too. It can be perjury, though sometimes it is also not perjury. I thought most, if not all, the lawsuits were dropped and or dismissed. Comrade Devin, first off, hello, comrade. And second off, so far the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, has lost 29 out of 30 of their lawsuits. So, most of them have been lost or dismissed, yes. So we'll see when it comes to this, I guess, a walking corpse, and his claims in court, you know? The My Cousin Vinny defense. True. Lily loves stuff. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. And guys, I forgot I need to make my introduction. Hello. My name is Jack. I am a market socialist, and I use my platform here on Twitch to basically advocate for a better world and advocate for policies that benefit and increase the freedom of every person in the United States. And my goal with this channel is not just to have fun, not just to have a good time, not just to be entertaining, not just to be kind, but to build up a community that is capable of getting out there and making an actual tangible change for the better in this world. Whether that is encouraging you to get involved in local politics, whether it's encouraging you to get involved with local campaigns, whatever the case might be, I want you to all get out there and be able to succeed. And together, I think that by following our various talents and passions and lending them together in support of a singular cause, we can actually make this world a better place. And indeed, we need to. Because right now, we're all standing on the precipice of climate change apocalypse, and we need to come together and make this place better, because if we don't, the fascists will come together and claim to be doing the same. And, frankly, I'd much rather live under a socialist country that ensures my freedom than be put up against the wall in a fascist one, So, this is my position, and I hope you will all join me in making the world a better, kinder, happier, freer place. Can I ask what state you're in? Or is that too doxy? Oh no, I live in Minnesota, so I'm up in the cold north. Everybody, I should spend an entire stream just talking like a Minnesotan. Oh yeah, you betcha. Let's go fishing. We'll go catch some walleye, yeah? Aw, I'm just north of you. Aw, hello. Tolstoy, but what if I was to put up against the wall? Wait, what if I was put up against the wall in a socialist country? Well, Tolstoy, I don't think you would be put up against the wall in a socialist country. I don't think executions are necessary for us to achieve socialism. Don't ya know? Walleye is absolutely delicious. I love living in Minnesota. It's great. And just for the record, Minnesotans are not North Dakotans, so we are not technically like Fargo people, okay? That's North Dakota. Fargo's in North Dakota. So just so we're clear, okay, everybody? Good fishing. Oh, yeah. Are you sure Trump knows strategy at all? Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Many stories. Yes, exactly. Great White North, all the same. True. I am extremely white. This is very true. I'm extremely Swedish and Norwegian. All right. But that's my spiel. I love talking about worker co-ops and socialism and decommodification, and I push for those things with my channel, And I try and be kind to everybody, even with people who disagree with me. So, hi everybody who disagrees with me. Hopefully I'll win you over. I'll get you sometime, okay? We can't have it all. All right. Let's go back to this melty boy over here, okay?
1,000 illegal ballots in 2 counties that Biden carried by 75, 80%. And you know how close Wisconsin is. And what I'm talking about is
do we get a
the absentee ballots
fish
for which there were no applications.
Utopia?
And that's not just a small matter.
Absolutely.
The reason for the application. And
Also, I'm a realist. I don't think having a market socialist society would make us utopian at all. All I think is that we have the resources necessary to make this world a better, more equitable place, and all it takes, really, is the will for us to come together and demand that our world be so. So, let's come together and make it better, okay? Purple Sunshine 7, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate you. Guys, we're almost up to 700 followers today. I'm really happy. By the way, I only started streaming a month and a half ago. I started streaming, like, seriously at kind of middle of September. So, yeah, this is a real step in the right direction for me. I'm happy. All this streaming has been really fun for me. Definitely rocking, Jack. Thank you very much, Ashley. And also, for those of you who are new, my mod Ashley helped invent the internet. No joke. She worked on the predecessor to what became the internet. So everyone, if you like the internet, you should probably thank Ashley for helping put it together. King of the internet, Trump. Indeed. Trump indeed. 69 viewers? Nice. Nice. Obviously, you're that awesome. Thank you. What kind of dye is he using? I would really... Yeah, I have a feeling he didn't, like, wash his hair or something after the dye got put in. Yeah, it's really not great. I thought Al Gore invented the internet. Well, he had some help from our good mod Ashley. That's dead. Oh no. Oh, it's the necromantic energies leaking out of his scalp. It's true. True.
the reason to keep all these things together is precisely to avoid what the Democrats did in this election, which is to misuse the absentee ballot process and the mail-in ballot process in order to cheat. So they really cheated in 2 respects. They cheated with the machines. Instead of asking me are we going to bring a lawsuit in Wisconsin, which we will if
Wait, should we all Rudy, should we also be checking the machines in Republican victory zones? If the machines are this easy to cheat, might not the Republicans have also been using the machines to cheat?
we have to. You should have asked me, and you should be more astounded by the fact that our votes are counted in Germany and in Spain
Miracle.
by a company owned by affiliates of Chavez and Maduro. Did you ever believe that was true? Did any of you here believe that that was possible? Of course it's not. Of course it shouldn't be possible. I don't know if we're going to have time to develop all that in time to fill the requirements.
Oh, I can't feel a thing. Thank you very much for all the bits. I appreciate that very much. I am not a wealthy individual, but thank you very much for the 500 bits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are all really nice. Thank you very much. Gosh. Jeez.
Requirements of all these cases. We have enough evidence without that to overturn this election. We have it from the affidavits of American citizens. But that's a matter of national security that we're talking about now. Very, very serious matter of national security. Please don't make light of it. And don't act like you knew it. Don't act like it isn't a surprise. If that's not a headline tomorrow, then you don't know what a headline is. There isn't a single person in this country that would have believed that we have states that are stupid enough to have our vote sent out of this country. You couldn't possibly believe that the company counting...
It does kind of look like it's being strapped onto his head here. Like that this is a strap. Whew.
Our vote, with control over our vote, is owned by two Venezuelans who were allies of Chavez, are present allies of Maduro.
Again, guys, Hugo Chavez is dead. Hugo Chavez has been dead for a while now.
With a company whose chairman is a close associate and business...
He died 7 years ago. Why are we talking about Hugo Chavez? This is like blaming the election on Stalin.
Partner of George Soros, the biggest donor to the Democrat Party, the biggest donor to...
Oh, yeah. No, he's making the claim that because he has revealed that there are 8 public affidavits saying that the election was kind of unfair, that we should overturn the entire results of the election. Yes, that is unironically what he's saying. He's also said that he has an entire library of affidavits alleging of fraud, but also he made the claim that Pennsylvania or Philadelphia has had 60 years of fraudulent voting. So that's weird. He made that claim without any evidence. Also, if you want to post a link, Ketamaphore, send it over to my mods. Send them a whisper sweet nothings to them. Rudy is at the stage of life where he thinks a cyborg Stalin is trying to harvest Jesus semen stored in his feet. Yeah, Rudy's at the age in his life where he unironically, like, he saw like screenshots from Wolfenstein, like one of the new Wolfenstein games, and thought it was real. Yeah, truly. Honestly, again, if they could prove like even single parts of this insane news conference, it would literally be some of the biggest political news in the history of the United States. Like, we're talking textbook making history in this country. But I don't think they can do it. I wrote an affidavit that Trump officials are holding Rudy Giuliani hostage. Honestly, the lady that was in the leopard print who was talking sounded like her family got taken hostage. Her voice was really trembling. The specter of communism. Gosh. You guys are funny. I appreciate you guys.
Tifa and the biggest donor to Black Lives Matter.
What? Wait, I missed a couple seconds of that, and I guess it was really important.
Close associate and business partner of George Soros, the biggest donor...
Oh my God.
That we have states that are stupid enough to have our vote sent out of this country. You couldn't possibly believe that the company counting our vote, with control over our vote, is owned by two Venezuelans who were...
Wait, is he wait. What the fuck? So he's alleging that the voting machines send the data to two Venezuelans who can manipulate the vote? What? Okay, let's continue.
Allies of Chavez are present allies of Maduro, with a company whose chairman is a close associate and business partner of George Soros.
Who gives a shit? George Soros is a private citizen. Who gives a shit if the president of this company knows George Soros?
The biggest donor to the Democrat Party, the biggest donor to Antifa, and the biggest donor to Black Lives Matter.
I would love to see video from the courtroom where Rudy Giuliani has to prove that George Soros has been sending Antifa money. What the fuck does that even mean, guys? Antifa isn't even a group or an organization. What does it mean for them to, like... Well, he also mentioned Black Lives Matter separately. So, but like, what does it mean to send Antifa money? Who's he sending it to? Like, individuals? I'm an anti-fascist. Why aren't I receiving this George Soros money? What what the hell? Where's my Soros bucks? Well, yeah, I mean, George Soros has been funding protests, historic protests for, police reform and defunding the police. Incredibly, it's weird, yeah. Also, 97% of Black Lives Matter protests, the largest sustained protest in American history, 97% of it was peaceful, and the vast majority of the violence was conducted by counter-protesters and the police themselves. Anyway, just gonna throw that out there because that's actual data based on actual studies that have been done. They're the facts, and the facts don't care about your feelings, even if your feelings are founded on fear-mongering. Yeah. You guys, we're like I need to really emphasize to you how insane this press conference is. Also, what a time to stop this camera. Jeez Louise. But I get paid in energy drinks. I wish I got paid in energy drinks. It would save me money. But like, guys, we are like half a step away from Rudy Giuliani just straight up saying there's a cabal of Jews manipulating our elections. We're like half a step away from that, guys. Like half a step. It's literally like a tiny step on the alt-right from George Soros is manipulating everything in the United States to the Jews, the cabal of Jews that are controlling world money, have their fingers in everybody's political pockets. This is absolute insanity, and I don't want to like gloss over that, and I don't want to gloss over the fact that all of this is like made more harmful by the fact that like people believe it's true. We have millions of armed people in this country who think it's true and are willing to do violence over this. So I don't want to gloss over that. But also, this is objectively very funny. It's objectively very funny. Just want to clarify one common mistake. George Soros is pronounced George Soros. I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm gonna pronounce it the way most people say it. Kind of like how GIF is supposed to be pronounced GIF. George Soros. Wait, look, Disco Rat. When George Soros sends me the check, I'll start pronouncing it Soros. Okay. I'll start respecting it as soon as he stops being late with my sweet George Soros bucks for being Antifa. Okay. Joe Biden is made up of office of the president, has a made up office of the president-elect, entirely fabricated? No, that's actually not fabricated. The president-elect is afforded like special privileges, like security briefings and such to inform him about the state of the country going into the presidency. So he doesn't go in blind on the day he assumes office. It's not a fabricated position. It's literally a position that has existed for like the entirety of our country's history since we established the presidency 13 years after the founding of our country. Soros hates socialists and communists. True. Anyway, I won't rest until we've steered the stream down that rabbit hole. Which rabbit hole? Excuse me. Yeah, Trump literally had the office of the president-elect when he won as well. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue.
My goodness, what do we have to do to get you to give our people the truth?
Wait, what is ET? Is that Entertainment Tonight? Wait, what? Like, wait, the ET, the extraterrestrial? Wait, why is that groomer propaganda? Also, fawn over, if you want to post a link, send it to one of the mods. ET phone home. Real talk, I'm unironically scared of the movie E.T. because I find the alien very creepy. But anyway, we're not going down that rabbit hole yet. We have a lot of things left to talk about today. But we will later, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Giuliani. My name is Liz Willis of RSCN. Some on this legal team have mentioned before that people close to the Trump campaign are pressuring them to drop the investigation into Dominion. Can you go further into detail and tell us specifically who those people are? Also, if it's possible, can you tell us if they work with some of our powerful defense groups in the United States, such as the CIA?
The last part was, do they work
With defense groups.
with defense groups and the CIA? First, I'm in charge of this investigation with Sydney and the people you see here. There's been no pressure to stop investigating Dominion.
No one's
In fact, there's
pressuring y'all to stop.
no, there's pressure to go as fast as we can. I mean, I think there was uniform shock when we first heard it. I think when I first heard it, I didn't believe it until Sydney showed me the documents. And in fact, I feel kind of stupid, and you all should, because all you had to do is go online and find out that Smartmatic is owned by Venezuelans close to Chavez. You can Google it. Well, unless they take it down. I preserved it, so you can find it. Not, you know, and by the way, the Coomer character, who is close to Antifa, took it off all of his social media.
Yeah, the Coomer in Antifa, everybody. There's only one of them. There's only one Coomer in all of Antifa. Oh, Antifa Coomer. Oh, no.
Aha, but we kept it. We've got it. The man is a vicious, vicious man. He wrote horrible things about the president. He is completely biased. He's completely warped. And he specifically says that they're going to fix this election. I don't know what you need to wake you up, to do your job,
Wake me
and
up
inform the American people,
inside.
whether you like it or not, of the things they need to know. This is real. It is not made up. It is not. There's nobody here that engages in fantasies. I've tried 100 cases.
I've never had a fantasy. My name is Rudy Giuliani. This is real. It's not all inside my head. I am actually melting. My brains come out through my hair follicles. Again, okay, guys, I can't keep freezing this, but like, this just kind of looks like he's getting pegged, and I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. Okay, guys, I can't unsee it. I saw it. Now you guys have to see it too. Okay. How smooth do you think his brain is? The smoothest. He's remembering that moment from Borat 2. I'm sorry, everybody. I thought it was his coom face. Oh, gosh. It's a gentle pegging. You know, he's trying it for the first time. Oh, gosh. Yeah, this is there's some real ballot stuffing going on back there. Anyway. Oh yeah, he's a communist. It's true. It's true. It's true. We're all communists over here. I love you too, your brother Levi. I like you too. Alright. I just can't unsee it. I can't unsee it, guys. Social lust. Ooh, we are coming up with so many great terms today. I love it. I'm for social lusts. Alright.
I prosecuted some of the most dangerous criminals in the world. I know crimes. I can smell them. You don't have to smell this one. I can prove it to you 18 different ways. I can prove to you that he won Pennsylvania by 300,000 votes. I can prove to you that he won Michigan by probably 50,000 votes.
Fantastic that you can do that. I look forward to you proving it in court. That's the face I imagine every time Lindsey Graham gets in the bath with Rudy. Oh no. It's true. The predecessor of McGruff the crime dog, Rudy Giuliani. No joke. No joke.
When I went to bed on election night, he was ahead in all those states, every single one of those states. How is it they all turned around? Every single one of them turned around.
It's because for months he told his voters not to vote by mail, Rudy, and then a bunch of mail-in votes came in. It's not that complicated. It's actually pretty straightforward. The votes by mail for Biden were like 80%, like 80% of the vote by mail votes, a historic amount of which were cast in this election because we have a historic pandemic that you haven't mentioned once that might be influencing people's behavior, came through. It's a very simple explanation, and it's a much simpler explanation than that there is an elaborate conspiracy orchestrated by George Soros, orchestrated by the ghost of Hugo Chavez, orchestrated by the resurrected corpse of Fidel Castro, with the help of China, put a bunch of voting machines onto a tugboat and managed to infiltrate the entire country via some sort of elaborate reverse Ocean's 11 scheme. Like, no, this isn't what happened. It's just that more people voted by mail this year than ever before because there's a historic pandemic, and because of the president's messaging, not many Republicans voted by mail. This is not super complicated. It's not a wide-ranging conspiracy. It's literally just a pretty predictable outcome of Trump's rhetoric, honestly. And also, he just looks crazy. Like, the leaking is just, I can't believe no one whispered to him up on the stage. He's not, guys, he doesn't have a lapel mic or anything. Someone could have, like, this lady could have just been like, hey, your face, it has ink running down it. You're leaking. Please mop up the sides of your face, because you're only mopping up the front of your face. No, they all saw. She was looking at it. The other lady was looking at it. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, because he hasn't said anything yet. But he probably saw it too. They probably thought it was normal. Oh yeah, he just does this all the time at around bedtime. Oh no. All right.
Or is it more consistent that there was a plan to turn him around? And since there are witnesses who say there was a plan to turn him around, and it kind of begs credulity to say that it all happened in every single state, my goodness, this is how you win cases in a courtroom.
Oh, he got one side. Yeah, he did it. He did it, everybody. He got it. Now he just looks like he has really long sideburns.
Our goal here is to go around the iron curtain of censorship. That what publication are you with? It's to go around the outrageous iron curtain of censorship and get facts to the American people.
What censorship, Rudy? Like, I know that we all take this for granted at this point, but, like, what censorship is he actually talking about, right? Like, again, he's like, banking on some sort of elaborate conspiracy theory where all of these news outlets are working together in order specifically to fuck over the Trump administration. Which, again, that's something an insane person would think.
That if you were a fair and honest network, you'd have been reporting for the last 2 weeks. These are facts. These are things that actually happened. These people really wrote these affidavits. These affidavits are really part of the public record. You're concealing them, you're covering them up, and our role here is to do your job because you don't do it. Chanel?
Thank you, and to Ms. Howell as well. Where is our FBI? And have they expressed any interest whatsoever in looking into allegations of voter fraud and election fraud?
By the way,
Come on, you have to have
people who are new, what channel did you come from again? I want to make sure I follow so that I'm able to return the favor someday, you know? Antipodian squid. Thank you. I thought it was adipose squid, and I was like not finding it. I was very disappointed. Thank you very much. Antipodian squid. We'll follow over there. Oh, this looks like a lovely channel. This looks like a lovely channel. I really like it. How friendly and cool. Awesome. Cool. They are very sweet. Aw, Squid is a sweetheart. I can't imagine anyone with that sort of an icon is anything less than a sweetheart. Antipasta squid. Vosh / Heather Reloaded / Antipodian squid. Wait, how did you get here from Vosh? Vosh doesn't have a channel on Twitch. Oh, that is an adorable emotes. I need to get better emotes. So far, I only have Pepe's and a peach butt emote. Oh gosh. All right. Continuing on. Thank you very much for answering my question.
Have a little humor.
We have witnesses who have actually reported.
Where are you,
to the
FBI?
And nothing's happened as a result of it.
I don't know where the FBI has been for the last 3 years. I have no idea where the FBI has been for the last 4 years. Explain to me how the FBI concealed a memo in the hand of Brennan to Obama saying that Hillary basically made up the Russian collusion plot. They withheld that for 4 years and cost our country $40 million and 2 impeachment, 1 attempted, 1 actual, and then an acquittal proceeding. I don't know where they've been. I don't know where they were on the hard drive. They got it 10 months ago. There are clear crimes revealed on it. Didn't do anything with that. I don't know where they are now. Our country.
Damn, Rudy, you as a lawyer, maybe you should have like made a copy of that hard drive and brought it to court yourself, because it seems like if there are clear crimes on it, you'd be able to prove them in court. The Surfs raided into Hannah Reloaded. Oh, I love the Surfs. Then they raided into Squid. We raided into you. Okay, awesome. I don't know who Hannah Reloaded is either, but I will check them out, okay? Hannah Reloaded. Bloop. I'm trying. So like I haven't been streaming for very long, guys. So I'm trying to figure out like who's on my side. Who are my allies here on Twitch? You know, who can I count on when I'm in the middle of the Battle of Helm's Deep, and the chuds are surrounding the gates. You know. Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Comrade Devin. I appreciate it. And guys, feel free to go forth and recommend other streamers raid me sometime. You know, I like to think that I make some decent content. Chelsea Manning's channel too? Oh, is Chelsea Manning streaming? I'm so glad she's out there living her best life. Awesome. Cool. Rad as hell. Awesome. XY Chelsea. Ketamaphora, thank you very much for hitting that old follow button. If any of you out there haven't pressed it yet, I highly recommend you do so. And look, I here on this channel, I only deal in facts, not feelings, and a systematic review of everyone who's hit the follow button has shown me that everyone who follows this channel is actually about 6 to 5 times cuter than the average population, and this might be a bit explosive to claim, extremely well endowed. So hit that follow button and join the force that will make this world a better place. Okay. Oh, playing the new Watch Dogs. True. 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 Quit flattering. Look, it's not flattery if it's true, everybody. It's not flattery if it's true. I'm not the last part, but I like it that way. Hell yeah. This is a channel that will always stand by my trans brothers and sisters, okay? And siblings, too. And I you know what? I'm glad you're living your best life too. I know it can be really hard to transition and come out, so more power to you, friend. All right.
Has had its ballots counted, calculated, and manipulated in a foreign country.
True, like half my community is trans, so yeah, you're in good company. Yeah, Chelsea is streaming. Just don't mention Lady Gaga. Wait, why not? Yeah. As a trans woman, I love being on Twitch. I only got a lot of shit the other day when I was covering trans people in sports. His mouth is turning into a beak. True.
With a company controlled by friends of an enemy of the United States. What do we have to do to get the FBI to wake up? Maybe we need a new agency to protect us. I have no idea.
Yes. Guess what, guys? We can get Rudy Giuliani on board with my radical idea of police reform, okay? Guys, we're going to form Police 2. Now, Police 2 is basically the sequel to the Police, okay? They're the new and improved police. We gotta make sure Police 2 is fully funded so it can be fully operational as soon as possible. And in the Police 2, there will be no officers. Instead, they will all be highly trained and effective social workers. They will be extremely adept at de-escalating situations. They roll in and they take care of homeless people and bring them to the appropriate services that help them get jobs and mental health care. You know, this is they show up. They're completely unarmed. They're able to de-escalate domestic disputes, or if somebody's having a mental breakdown, they're able to calmly and securely make sure that everything's okay. You know, yeah. You call 912. You know, the sequel to the Police. Call 912, everybody. And then we're also going to expand to the anti-police, which I quite like the idea of anti-police. You call the anti-police when the police show up and are misbehaving. So, yeah, we have Police 2 and a separate branch of the of Police 2 called the anti-police. No. Police 2 are cool. The anti-police are just to counteract Police 1. And eventually, once Police 1 is phased out in favor of Police 2, then we can phase out the anti-police as well. Call it Police 0, 199. I don't know, but these are the things we need to nitpick over. We're back to 69 viewers. Nice. All right.
Just a minute. In terms of the level of corruption we are looking at here, we have no idea how many Republican or Democratic candidates in any state across the country paid to have the system rigged to work for them. These people didn't do this just to take control. They make one heck of a lot of money off of it. Think about the global interests behind your own news organization.
Oh, true.
Think about the pressure.
True. I didn't think about Police 2 going rogue. True. What happens when a criminal is committing a violent crime on purpose? Well, that's when you bring in the anti-police. Or you just bring in the the police too to de-escalate the situation. Yeah.
Brought to bear from the social media companies to shut down free speech on any challenge to the election. This is a massive, well-funded, coordinated effort to deprive we the people of the United States of our most fundamental right under the Constitution to preserve this republic that we all cherish. It is of the greatest concern. It is the 1775 of our generation and beyond.
These are extremely big words, lady. If you're saying that the B-mans, if you're saying like these are people who come like prepared to fight or something like that, well then sure, we can have like a SWAT team response or something like that. I'm not opposed to that. But I think in general we don't need like SWAT teams up the wazoo. We don't need police with guns. Yeah, we just need better policies because people don't usually decide to just commit crimes just because. Usually there are underlying conditions, underlying material conditions, or lack of services that cause people to commit crimes.
Sydney, speaking
Yes.
of our votes being held and processed, tabulated overseas, there's reports that there was a piece of hardware, possibly a server, picked up in Germany. Is that true, and is it related to this?
That is true. It is somehow related to this, but I do not know whether good guys got it or bad guys got
So
it.
we don't know who picked it up.
Why
Cindy,
did
I have a
you
question
not
on Cindy.
requesting a
Cindy,
recount in Wisconsin where the
can I
counties that
ask
use
Cindy?
Dominion
This is
systems?
I can only hear one person at the time. I'm going to take the one with the hands raised.
I'm with Just the News.
Yes.
So question for you, Sydney. First, on the issue of the machines, do you plan to have, are you seeking a court order to either seize or subpoena or just to gain access to any of these machines in any of these contested districts? Have you begun that process? And when can we expect a timeline on that? And then for you, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned in Wisconsin and in Michigan these issues of overvoting. Where can we learn more about this? You're saying 150, 200%?
Up to 350% in some places.
Where would we get access to that data? And then to what extent were those people who showed up to vote in person? Because in Michigan, for example, they did allow same-day registration.
Yes, well, the same-day registration causes problems with the vote signature and the registration itself. That's a whole different system that makes it impossible, really, to validate the signature. I mean, one person could sign the same name. I could sign John Smith, I could sign Kay Smith, I could sign, on both things and run 50 ballots that way. And we've got some evidence of that being done as well. Rudy, do you want to speak to the other part of it?
Sure. We have now 3 overvote analyses done. One for Pennsylvania, one for Michigan, and one for Wisconsin. We're in the process. Oh, I'm sorry, Georgia. We're in the process of doing the others. I'll check to see if it's appropriate for us to make it public.
Well, and the B-Man's probably because criminals are far more likely to murder people if they perceive them as a deadly threat. So, like, criminals who are bent on, like, murdering people, I guess, would probably be, more likely to kill someone who's armed. Let me put it that way. But like if you're talking about like a mass shooting incident, like yeah, armed officers would probably respond to that first. Yeah, I would rather Police 2 not working alongside Police 1 because then it would change how Police 2 operate in these situations. Also, Hunter Biden's laptop, thank you very much for following. I didn't realize you were self-aware, so congratulations on your newfound personhood. This is such a dumb conversation in chat, but I love it.
A lot of the analysis comes from the real-time data that came through to the news medias the night and following the election. And some entrepreneurs out there have started crunching data themselves in addition to multiple experts who could easily recognize with the mathematical brain that I do not have.
Wait, you're basing your data on publicly available data, but you're not basing it on the data from like behind the scenes? Why would you be using the public data to make these claims? Because obviously a lot of the vote tallies are going to be put in different times, in batches. Holy shit.
The beyond...
Let's see, Hunter Biden's laptop, the corrupt foreign-owned media run by the Chi-Coms and the EU openly said Xi Jinping and Davos would crush America and destroy Trump. And now the Davos group says they used COVID against us, but China is open for business. America is under leftists' martial law, and if the communist Chinese agent Joe Biden is able to get there, it will be bad. My dude, first off, I've watched things that people like you have sent me. I watched the economists talk about like the Great Awakening or whatever, like the economic recovery after COVID. It literally nothing to do with what you're talking about. Also, China's not communist. It's an authoritarian state with a highly centralized planned economy that engages in state capitalism. So, also, the EU has no alliance with Xi Jinping, And the EU would definitely not ally with China to destroy the United States. That's fucking stupid. Anyway.
Explicable deviations to the point of mathematical impossibility that 186,000 votes come in at once, all for Joe Biden. That's like flipping a coin 186,000 times and it lands on heads every time. That does not happen. There is no reasonable explanation for the upshoots, the straight lines up. I'm not even talking about an angle. I'm talking about some massive straight lines up.
Yeah, it's they were tallying the mail-in ballots. So when you get new information from mail-in ballots that are predominantly for Joe Biden, you're going to see massive straight-up spikes. Does she think that they logged these things one at a fucking time? What is she fucking... I'm sorry, these brains are just too big for me today. You're assuming she thinks. True.
In the vote tallies in the middle of the night after they've supposedly stopped counting. And that's when the Dominion operators went in and injected votes and changed the whole system. And it affects votes around the country, around the world, and all kinds of massive interests of globalists, dictators, corporations, you name it. Everybody's against us except President.
Who are the globalists that she's talking about? This is like some really straight QAnon bullshit. Hey, B-More. You were on Prime's panel. Oh, you gave me a shout out? Thank you very much, B-More. I think you're pretty rad yourself, okay? And thanks for stopping by my stream again. I appreciate it. What did you guys talk about on Prime's panel today? Also, if any of you are interested in cool political panels, you should check out Prime Kai's. Shout out Prime Kai's. There you go. Also, B-More, how many underscores are after your name? Is it 3? 4? Okay. There you go. I'm not a streamer, though. Well, people can follow you anyway, my friend. Prime had a weird Malcolm X panel today. A lot of anti-white vibes. I don't think that's how that works, my dude. I think there's a difference between there's a difference between having an all-black panel and having like anti-white vibes. Anti-cop, totally justifiable. Also, yeah, white supremacy sucks shit. Maybe we should get rid of it. I watched it. I've watched his all-black panels, too. I've never gotten anti-white vibes. Literally, B-More was on the panel today, so... I don't know. I think B-More might know more in this instance. Just making sure I'm on the right channel. Sarsart, what kind of channel are you looking for? I didn't see your first message. Oh, are you going to talk about Rudy melting? Oh, absolutely. We've been yucking it up about this for like the last hour and a half. Runny Rudy. True. True. For the lady on the vid.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
God. I think Kobotroid, I think it was an accident. When I was watching Prime's panel, they were on an ACAB and its effectiveness. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a valid discussion. Sarsart3, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it. All right.
President Trump and we the people of the United States of
You've
America.
spoken of unleashing the Kraken. Is the country ready for this? I mean, Americans should be astonished at what you're saying here today. Is the country on the verge of an electoral breakdown?
We've already had it. We've already had that electoral breakdown. But the Constitution, as Jenna explains, has provisions in it for how you fix this. And there should never be another election conducted in this country.
Pretty weird how it's the Trump campaign making this statement instead of like the election oversight like committees. Pretty weird. Pretty weird. Yeah, my mods are doing their best. We've, again, like earlier in the stream, we literally had like a drive-by Nazi thing where people were coming by and like mass spamming messages. It was very strange, so they're a little on edge today. Also, all mods are bastards. True. True. Mods are the police of comment sections. You mod and you notice they come in waves. Yeah, they really do. All mods are bastards. True. AMAB. But you know who aren't bastards? Trans men. And today is International Men's Day. And trans men, super valid. Love my trans men peeps. Love all y'all. But I love our mods. True, David Filippo. I love our mods too. I'm here doing bastardy. Oh no, that happened to a stream I was on last night. Oh yeah, it's really unpleasant. I don't get why they do it.
Country, I don't care if it's for local dog catcher, using a Dominion machine and Smartmatic software. We've got to have an American company that uses paper ballots that we can all verify so every one of us can see that our vote is our vote.
Why are you not requesting recounts in Wisconsin counties that use Dominion software? You're requesting recounts in 2 counties that don't use the software at all.
Because this case is not only about, remember, this case didn't begin with Dominion. This case began, and this case can be proven the old-fashioned way. It can be proven based on just good old-fashioned democratic tactics that go back to Mayor Daley in the 1960s, when he held a vote back in Chicago so that he could elect John F. Kennedy. Or as recently as last year, when they held a vote back in Palm Beach County and Broward County in order to see if they could steal that election for the Senate and governor, and then got caught manufacturing ballots. Democrats have been doing this for years on a small scale. When they passed
Whoa. Rudolph Giuliani, you said that the entire city of Philadelphia had fraudulent elections going back 60 years. Is that a small scale? I don't think so. You've made some pretty explosive claims today. So explosive, your head started exploding.
The mail-in voter statute, which all of a sudden multiplied by 10 times the number of mail-in votes, they realized they could have a field day. They could do precisely what Jimmy Carter and Secretary Baker warned us about. All you have to do is own an election board, and you can get away with it. And unlike what Sidney is talking about, where you can have a paper trail, a paper ballot, I tried to point out to you, the minute that you separate
it's true.
the outer envelope from the ballot,
gone
you
back
can no
to
longer
the
trace
golden
it,
number.
which is why the count, whatever the count in Georgia today is, it's totally ridiculous. They're counting the same fraudulent ballots one more time. And we're still very close.
Nice.
No single court has found evidence of fraud. That's got to be disappointing for you and the president. How would you describe his mood at the moment? And do you and him still genuinely believe you can overturn this election, or is it about something bigger for you?
Well, it is about something. Let's go from the big picture to the smaller picture. The most important thing here is that this has been a massive attack on the integrity of the voting system in the greatest democracy on earth. The people who did this have committed one of the worst crimes that I've ever seen or observed. One of the things we're the most proud of in this country is that we've been such a long-standing democracy based on the right to vote. They have trashed the right to vote. They've dishonored the right to vote. They've destroyed the right to vote in their greed for power and money. And there's no doubt about it. This was not an individual idea of 10 or 12.
I really want him to say who he means by they. Like, specifically who he means. Because this vagueness, I think, is super damaging and, like, is something that contributes to a lot of what scares me about the outcome of these allegations, right? Like, I want him to be specific. I want him to say, yeah, there is a secret cabal of these people in our government. I want him to actually indicate who is responsible for this, because he's alleging a giant conspiracy. Yeah, like he's saying the DNC people-ish, but I want him to name names, because right now he's being incredibly vague, and it seems kind of weird that he's being so vague when he's claiming that they have literally libraries full of evidence against these people. So Exactly. It's vague enough to get support, it's vague enough to get money, and it's vague enough to get people angry at no one in particular. It's true that the Venezuelans, true. The two Venezuelans who I guess allegedly have supreme power over our elections.
Of Democrat bosses. This is a plan. You would have to be a fool not to realize that. They do the same thing in exactly the same way in 10 big Democrat-controlled, in most cases, crooked city. And when I say crooked city, go look at how many of their officials have gone to jail in the last 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years that they have dominated and destroyed those cities. They picked the places where they could get away with it. They picked the places where, whether or not Republicans testified to something, judges would just dismiss it because judges are appointed politically. And too many of them are hacks. They picked places where they could get a sheriff that refused to enforce a court order. When we got a court order that we could be 10 feet closer, our representatives were told, if you try to do it, I'll arrest you.
You're painting a portrait of a national conspiracy, suggesting that Joe Biden was actually part of that.
Part one, it began as a national conspiracy. Clearly, that evidence emerged very, very quickly. The minute I saw that it was the same thing in 10 states, just using logic, I said this can't be an accident. And then when I...
Okay, so just using logic, so again, what Rudy Giuliani is saying is that he saw some things on election night and the day after that caused him to go, I'm going to use my powers of deduction to say that this is not how elections should go because he was winning last night and this morning he's not winning. So that must mean there is a massive election fraud, a massive conspiracy to rob Donald Trump of the election. This is... okay.
What I was surprised about is the dimension of it. I mean, not inspecting almost 700,000 ballots is astounding.
Are you suggesting that Joe Biden was part of that conspiracy? I just want what your evidence.
Honestly, I don't know what Joe Biden is aware of or not aware of. And I mean that as a lawyer, not trying to be cute. I've watched him, I've observed him.
Notice how he suddenly became very cagey about who he's talking about. I mean, maybe Joe Biden. I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna hedge my bets. Yeah. As a lawyer, probably a good idea not to make any specific claims, but also, if you have all this overwhelming evidence, seems like maybe you could make a couple specific claims about who you're talking about.
I honestly don't know how much he's aware. I don't know how much he decides and how much things are decided for him. So I
address one other thing to your question about the process. Your question is fundamentally flawed when you're asking where is the evidence. You clearly don't understand the legal process. What we had asked for in the court is to not have the certification of false results. And so to say, hold on a minute, we have evidence that we will present to the court. We haven't had the opportunity yet to present that to the court. We're giving you an overview and a preview of what we've discovered, but no court yet we've had that opportunity. So when we have trial
Lady
issues,
Rain
and what we
Cloud.
asked for are temporary restraining orders or injunctions to not certify false results. We're very happy that Michigan, the reason we dismissed that lawsuit today is because the Michigan county in Wayne County, they're not going to certify that because 71% of counties have inconsistent data. No person in this room or in this country should want states to rush through and coronate a president with false results. We have to make sure that the results are accurate. That's what we will prove.
We have to recount. This is like 2000 again, except this time they're arguing we have to recount the entire country.
Question.
The Secretary of State says that can actually happen, that those votes can't be rescinded, and that the certification in Michigan currently stands.
Secretary of State where?
In Michigan. Yeah, well, there are problems in Michigan. Follow the money.
Follow the political party, man. I mean, you're actually seriously going to want me to take seriously the Secretary of State of Michigan? When Michigan...
Yes. Take the Secretary of State of a state seriously. Yes. Georgia finished the manual recount and confirmed Biden won. Exactly. Yes. But also Rudy Giuliani preempted that by saying, well, it doesn't matter because even if we recount these things, it's irrelevant because the process is so heavily skewed by the Democratic conspiracy.
When the Secretary of State of Michigan never bothered to find out that the votes in her state were being counted in Germany by a Venezuelan company, and you want me to take her seriously or him seriously?
The Venezuelan company wasn't counting the votes, dipshit. Wasn't counting the votes. There's so much misinformation in this press conference. It's wild. Like, this is a pretty good... Like, guys, no lie. this is a pretty good case study right here for how maybe our freedom of speech goes too far, you know? Like, we've been watching like an hour of this just about, and it's basically been complete bullshit. And like, somehow this isn't illegal. Somehow this isn't illegal. And there's definitely a good case to be made here that maybe it should be, especially if it goes on to spur acts of violence, which it could very well happen. Could very well happen.
I mean, I was in government. If I were the governor of that state, I'd fire everybody that was involved in this election.
Yeah,
they didn't come and tell me.
I don't know how you would make a rule like that. I'm just saying, like, the effects this has are probably going to be extremely bad, you know? Stretch.
That my state was going to be embarrassed, made a fool of, because I'm sending my votes of people in Michigan over to Germany to be counted by a company that is owned by people who are allies of Maduro and Chavez. By the way, Carolyn Maloney, who wrote that, is my congresswoman. A Democrat pointed that out. They didn't do the darndest bit of due diligence. If you bought a $10 million company, you would have done more due diligence than that. Maybe they're incompetent, or maybe they didn't want to know. But you're not going to have me take seriously anything that comes from anyone involved in the election the way it was conducted in Michigan.
But you guys are saying that those votes have been rescinded. They haven't. The Secretary of State there says that they can't be.
The Secretary of State can say whatever she wants to say. Of course she's going to say that. She's a Democrat. She could also credit the affidavits of the two people and say that the board is tied and therefore the vote hasn't been certified. So because she's a Democrat, she's saying that. Do you think she has any credibility, having run the kind of election they ran in Michigan?
You're literally the lawyer for the Trump campaign, Rudy. Do you think you have more credibility? Like, fuck.
You think anyone in that government has credibility?
Good night, Ashley, and thank you very much for all of your modding work today. I appreciate it very much, and I hope you enjoyed the stream.
Using a machine and fooling their citizens? That can't be a person in Michigan who thought their vote was being sent outside the United States so somebody could play with it. I mean, it's disgraceful what the government of Michigan did to its citizens. Absolutely disgraceful.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, you have alleged.
I'm just go back to the servers. Are you going to be able to get your hands on the voting machines or the servers? And are you going to be able to see what when we have?
We're not. We are limited in what we can do. We're not the FBI. We're not the government. We don't have that kind of subpoena power. We don't have the power to just go subpoena anything we want. The government does. We would have to subpoena in line with a case. Our first case, we're asking for that authority in Pennsylvania and in Michigan. But you have to get that authority from the court. We're private citizens. We're not the government. If I were the government, like I used to be, there'd probably be a lot of people arrested by now. Because there's plenty of probable cause. Plenty of probable cause.
No.
We'll take.
You allege that Donald Trump has won by a landslide. We've seen that a lot of your lawsuits and in fact lawyers have been kind of dropping like flies. Why do you say to those people who call this a Russian 2.0 just on the other side? Why didn't this end also? Why didn't this happen?
What fake network do you come from?
I don't have it from a fake network. In fact, I am completely independent. I have no one above my head.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, our cases haven't been dismissed. We only have.
Over 20 look at the plaintiffs who were involved in this.
It's not our case, ma'am. Don't lie to people.
I'm saying, what do you say to
Ma'am, you are lying. You're lying. You're lying.
Holy shit.
Well, continue to lie. I'm not. Ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay. Let me answer the question. The answer to the question is, we don't have a lot of lawsuits. We only have 3. Our lawsuits have not been dropped all over the place. Okay.
Wait,
Well,
I thought he introduced that. I thought he introduced all of them as like the Trump legal, like the top of the Trump legal team. Is he saying that everyone present here constitutes the entire legal team? Are you kidding me? Where did she say she was from? She said she was an independent journalist. So she's not with anyone. She's just asking a question.
you're a totally discourteous person. I'm going to finish my answer. So, I'm going to finish my answer. The fact is we have very, very few lawsuits. The lawsuits you're talking about have been brought by private individuals and groups. Most of them were dismissed for lack of standing. Probably correctly, because they were brought before the election took place. The election is now over. The only lawsuit we have withdrawn is the one where we got the release that we wanted, and that's the one in Michigan. We also have another lawsuit in Michigan that will accomplish the other objectives of what we want to do in Michigan. So it's silly to have two competing lawsuits. The only lawyer that left a case left because he was threatened. His family was threatened. His children were threatened. And so was the other lawyer. Yeah, that's true. We have a little difficulty getting lawyers because our lawyers get threatened with being killed because of the ridiculous way in which you cover this and the ridiculous way in which you cover.
You haven't seen how I've covered this. Now, what
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody, but I get a pretty good sense from you, the way you handle yourself, how you cover it. All right, we're finished with you now. One last question. One last question from a one last question. One last question. One last question from a reasonable civil person. Yeah, you are not. Yes.
I'm not a reasonable person?
No, her, she isn't. Well, we'll find out.
I'm from the Daily Caller, for the record.
Oh, there we go.
If the
Great.
courts don't let you present these cases like Janet just said, will you give the entire bulk of the evidence to the media to review? And if so, when? Were you going to drag this thing out like the Hunter Biden are dragging it?
We're not going to drag it out. I mean, it's ridiculous for you to say we're dragging it out. Well, Al Gore had a lot more time than we've had, and we've had.
Gosh, he's getting defensive by a Daily Caller question, guys. Do you know how badly you have to fuck up to be getting grilled as Trump's lawyer by the Daily Caller? Do you know how badly you have to get fuck up to be grilled by the Daily Caller as a Republican surrogate? Wow. I've literally never seen this. I'm just impressed that the Daily Caller didn't suck his dick on stage. This is amazing. Rudy would fold if it was the Onion. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
2 weeks to investigate. So that's also completely unfair to say we're dragging it out. Also, if we're going to present things in court, if we present it to you, judges are not going to be very happy with us. And finally, I have to tell you, our witnesses don't want to be exposed to the tender mercies of a vicious press. I have great difficulty getting those witnesses.
Oh, okay. So your witnesses. So you don't want to present evidence at this press conference about all the evidence you have, because okay, very very convenient, very convenient. They don't want to expose any evidence at this time, but they are certain they have it. Trust me, guys. They saw him in a Discord sometime. You know, they saw it posted in Discord. Yeah, this is they can't remember which Discord, they can't remember what it said exactly, but they saw it one time.
That I did reveal to allow me to do it. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They think you put their lives in jeopardy with the spin that you put on what's going on here and with the unfairness in which you cover it. It's not easy to reveal the things that they tell me.
So the answer is no.
The answer is I can't do it because I can't.
That's become my go-to statement of someone lacking evidence.
Witness's life in jeopardy, or a person who thinks there's life in jeopardy. This woman tells me we have lawyers dropping out of the case. We have lawyers dropping out of the case because they're being threatened with destruction of their careers, destruction of their livelihood, and in some cases, destruction of their lives. That comes about because of the hysterical way in which you have covered Donald Trump and his administration. But we're going to change all that. We're going to go to courts. We're going to prove it in court. I would love to release all the information that I have. I would love to give it to you all. Except most of you wouldn't cover it. A few of you would. And then we'd have half the American people probably informed. The censorship that is going on in this country right now by big tech and by big media is almost as dangerous as the election fraud that we're revealing. Maybe just as dangerous. We're headed to a very bad place. And it is not inappropriate that a Venezuelan company counted our votes. Thank you.
That was one of the most incredible, deranged things I have ever seen in my entire life.